important today. Log on to NASCAR.com and you'll find the entire pit road map to assist you with today's race. Ryan Newman on the pole. The green flag is out. They're racing at New Hampshire.
Oh, Ryan Newman slipped way up the racetrack.
Gathered it up.
Looks like Jeff Burton might have given him a little room there.
I saw those drivers weaving their cars back and forth on those pace laps. Now I understand why. Trying to get those cleaned off for that first lap.
Newman, 5 bonus points on lap number 1. It's Brian Vickers in the 25, Martin Truex in the 1.
And I think that one car, Martin Truex Jr., is very, very good today.
I've been hanging out in the garage, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Of course, that car behind him, they talk about being the class of the field, talking about Tony Stewart in the 20.
And this is Truex's first start in this race, but he has run in the Nextel Cup Series at this track before. Remember, after Earnhardt Jr. had that accident in Sonoma in the sports car, in the Corvette. Truex was his relief driver. Sorry, WD.
If Stewart can do that all day long, he's going to be up at the front in no time at all, Matt. I mean, looks like the 20 car is already hooking the bottom.
Wally, a lot of crew chiefs and drivers all weekend long have talked about how the groove widens out, but the 20 car Stewart has been right on the bottom all weekend long. That's where he's been the strongest. He looked great on the lap tracker. Greg Cipotelli told me this morning, very few changes, just some small tweaks on that 20 car after final practice. It's that good.
Busch going high there in the 5 car.
Brian Vickers, his teammate in the 25, is going by the 5 of Kyle Busch, but here comes Tony Stewart turning that car on the bottom of the racetrack and going past Kyle Busch.
There'll be a lot of guys having pizza and Coke for the pre-race lunch next week. Yeah. Marty?
Yeah, Brian Vickers is also trying to run that line Tony Stewart ran, and his crew chief Lance McGrew told him Friday in practice, he said, you know what, you're too high on the racetrack. If you want to win here at New Hampshire, do what that 20 car does. Stay on the bottom like he does. That's how you pass people at New Hampshire. And still, Brian not able to do it. The car works about half a lane up, but Stewart will be able to get underneath him here in a few moments.
Yeah, that's the hard part, Marty, is getting your car to be able to do that. That's where everybody wants to run, and that's where 43 guys try to get their car to run. But there's only a couple of guys that hit the setup to where actually they get their car to do that. And it looks like Stewart's team has done it.
Stewart is 1.6 seconds behind Ryan Newman, who is the race leader. Vickers in 3rd, Tony in 4th. Tony trying to take that position away. Closes in as they head for turn 3.
And the handling on these cars, like Vickers, every lap it'll get worse. They'll start sliding higher and higher every single lap. And that's where after about 20-25 laps, these guys are really going to be using a lot of racetrack. And really, the guy that uses the less amount of racetrack is going to be the best here. And that's because everybody's going to slide high. So if you can get underneath, see Kurt Busch in the 2 car trying to do that right now on the Bass Pro Shops car. That's where you're going to make a lot of your passes.
Jimmy Johnson right behind them. You see Jeff Gordon in the 24, and then Reed Sorenson. Sorenson, a strong run at Chicago last week. He's fired up about today. We'll watch that. What are you working on, Alan?
I'm just standing down on the leader's pit, Bill, and looking at the difference in temperature between Friday's practice, yesterday's practice, and today. It's a good bit warmer today than it was. A lot of these crews are really concerned whether they've made the right adjustments to their car to get the most grip out of the racetrack that they can. Grip equals speed. Ryan Newman called in on lap 2 of this race and said his car was sliding around quite a bit.
Thanks, AB. Brian Vickers got that position back from Tony Stewart.
Yeah, I looked up and Vickers was going by. Don't know if Tony slipped or exactly what happened.
So Vickers up into 3rd while we watch this battle.
Kurt Busch took the
6th.
spot.
Yep.
There we see Tony Stewart. Now he's 4 or 5 car lengths behind the 25 of Vickers.
Have to keep an eye on that. Ryan Newman, the pole sitter, has led every lap so far. 9 are complete. get an update on the Tony Stewart situation, check out the race leader. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing from New Hampshire, presented by Subway on TNT.
Clear high. Center, free all. Okay, hit 4.
Dreaming of you.
How fast this car is, Marty.
The MVP, right before he passed Newman, he came on the radio and said, fellas, the rear tires on this thing have all of a sudden hooked up. He pulled away from the second place man and tracked down Newman, was able to pass him with ease. So right now, Brian Vickers doing pretty well. Battle for 7th on the racetrack, Bill.
It's Jeff Gordon on the inside of Martin Truex Jr. And Gordon gets the position. Taking a look at our AutoZone in the zone drivers here in New Hampshire. As we talked about on the Bank of America Countdown to Green, Ryan Newman, strong runs here. Matt Kenseth has 7 straight top 10 finishes, and Jeff Burton, a 4-time winner here in New Hampshire, but looking for his first win since October of 2001.
Kenseth, another driver, another team that's going to have to use some strategy. He's currently back in the 22nd position.
And their car is not very good. If you talk to Robbie Reiser in the garage this morning, he's not a very happy guy.
Making a lot of changes to that 17 car this morning.
Of course, Kenseth and company coming off the disappointment from Chicagoland a week ago, trying to make up some ground. Former series champion Matt Kenseth driving that 17 DeWalt car.
Currently, he's about that last lap. He was about a half-second slower than the leader, Brian Vickers. Although most everyone was a half-second slower than Brian Vickers.
Exactly. There's 3rd spot. Jeff Burton. Kyle Busch trying to get it.
On board the singular car with Burton, looking back at Kyle. Dave Burns.
And the 31 car of Jeff Burton, tighter and tighter and tighter. It started out pretty good, and you didn't really have a lot of complaints about it, but it just won't turn in the middle of the corner. Marty?
Kyle Busch was saying, Dave, that his car wanted to spin out every time. Speaking of spinning out, Bill.
Travis wobbled the 32 car. All of a sudden, the car just spun around. I was watching the car,
Back up.
almost like he had a flat tire or something.
Caution is out. 19 laps are complete. First caution of the race.
You want to pinch this real bad, Chief. How's the car, Travis? Showing up in the hands, left rear, and slap left front.
And this is a team that continues to struggle. Here's what you're watching, BP.
He's on the inside of Kenny Schrader and trying to avoid the 21 car. Just around he goes.
You really have to pinch that car down here. Try and hold it down there.
Well, you're carrying so much speed on the inside, and your car has a tendency to want to slide up the racetrack. When you start sliding up the racetrack and there's a guy out there, what you do is you turn left because you don't want to wreck him. But by doing that, it takes you out.
On board with Schrader.
See, if that was you in that car, Bill, I would have wrecked you. But he doesn't feel that way about Schrader.
And Benny, this is exactly what we talked about at the beginning of the race. About 20 laps in, strategy's going to start unfolding early here.
If the leaders stay out, then those guys back trying to get some position, they will pit. If the leaders pit, they'll stay out. Talking about Kenseth, Biffle, Edwards.
Vickers aims for pit road. He's coming. Newman stays out. So does Burton. Well, it's going to be a split strategy here. This is going to be fun.
Half and half.
Matt.
And Tony Stewart, conversation back and forth with Greg Zabinelli, going to make a chassis adjustment. The car, a tick on the tie side, 2-tire change for the 20. Marty?
Well, Matt, when you have the fastest car, you don't make many changes to it or any at all. Brian Vickers on pit road said, I'd like to come in a little bit quicker, but I'm happy with it right now. 4 tires, no changes. Alan?
Kevin, Mike Ford, the crew chief for Denny Hamlin, has called for 2 tires, said might as well try it early here, keep our track position, and see what it's going to do for the handling of our car later.
I'm pretty surprised. 25 took 4 tires on that stop, didn't he?
Yeah, and some real traffic for these guys getting off of pit road. We'll sort out the running order when we come back to the Lennox Industrial Tools 300.
Segment there for about 8 laps. The guys in front of you were a little quicker. Once you got around the 10 car, you were as much as 0.2 quicker than that next 8 or 10 cars in front of you. 1 to go. All right, pace car's ducking off. Ready. Ready. Green flag. Inside of you, just 2. Back to just 1. You can get down. Clear all around.
Not quite.
Wow, he went in hard.
Sure did. Newman might try the crossover move. Now they'll drag race down the backstretch here at New Hampshire. Burton with the lead. Jeff Burton wants those 5 bonus points.
Dave Blaney in the 22 car. Trying to get underneath Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Stewart's right there.
Burton leads, gets the points. Tony Stewart gets the position. Marty on the strategy of the 25 bunch.
Well, I just checked with Lance McGrew, the crew chief, Bill, and they restarted 15th on this run. I said, why did you take 4 tires? He said, you know what? We had the fastest car. I did not want to mess with it. Didn't want to make any chassis changes. I thought the conservative route was 4 tires. I think we can work our way back through the field. He said, you know what, 2? It's awfully early in this race. I'm not worried about it quite yet.
That really is a conservative move. Here's our Craftsman pit summary. See Vickers came out 16th, restarted 15th because Kevin LePage ducked onto pit road.
Problem is, you get back in the pack, and anything can happen in these races. So you put yourself in a position where if there is a wreck or something, it could be in front of you, and you could be in it.
I was going to say you could be it.
Well, I talked to Matt Borland this morning about the strategy of changing 2 tires. And he said if the car is good, like the 25 car was, you don't want to change 2 tires because you might mess up the chassis. You want to put 4 on, but you got to take the time to do it. And that's going to cost you a lot of track position.
He's in a mess right there.
Well, he is.
It's Mark Martin in the 6. Michael Waltrip in the 55, watching Brian Vickers in the 25.
See Harvick and Hamlin running side by side. Let's see if yesterday's forgotten about or not.
They ran that way for a long time in yesterday's Busch race here in New Hampshire, and then had some differing opinions in the post-race interviews. On board the Napa car with Michael.
Michael's probably looking up in the mirror going, oh boy.
Alan, how about pit strategy?
Just following up on what Benny said a minute ago, Bill, and BP, I heard a lot of crews talking about they would be better off taking no tires, just fuel, rather than trying to change just 2 tires. You catch that too?
Yeah, that's right. And change the chassis by changing 2 tires, because it's going to make a difference when you have new tires on one side, used tires on the other.
And look who is flexing some muscle again. Tony Stewart in that 20 car, up to 4th.
Well, he was good when the green flag dropped. He was really, really good, and then the car went off real fast. So they obviously came in, they made an adjustment. So we'll see if the car stays better or longer this time.
Jeff Burton, the race leader. 4 victories at this track, looking to get back to victory lane and
Just 01. Inside. Clear behind the 48. 1 car length back to the 5 car.
Something new in every turn at Michigan International Speedway.
They're behind them.
Jr. for that 5th position. This is for 3rd. Ryan Newman in the 12. Kurt Busch in the 2.
Tony Stewart has tucked the 20 car into the 2nd position as Kurt Busch goes by his teammate.
And here's what Wally was watching with the 8 car.
I think he got tired of reading Lowe's. Wanted to read something else for a while.
Jeff Burton by 2.1 seconds over Tony Stewart. Fans, follow your favorite driver with real-time telemetry and in-car audio with Track Pass from NASCAR.com. Subscribe today and get it at a discounted price. Learn more about Track Pass. Go to NASCAR.com. This is for 4th. Ryan Newman has it. And Kyle Busch trying to take it away.
Kyle Busch has been taking it away from a lot of people here in the last 15 laps. He's running very good right now. That 5 car is working for him, isn't it, Marte?
Indeed, Wally. On the last stop, 2 tires for Kyle Busch. He said, man, that car wants to spin out early in the run. He said, if I can survive the early part of the run, comes in nicely. They actually were worried it would get tight too quickly, so they added a pound in the right rear on that stop, hoping it would stay looser a little longer, Alan.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. gaining quite a bit of track position by not pitting under that first caution. Remember, he started back in 25th. As crew chief Tony Eury Jr. told me this morning, they were going to have to do something to try and mix things up to try and get themselves to the front and hope it fell out their way when the 300 laps ended. Dave?
Right behind them, Jeff Gordon in the 24 radioed to his crew. Plowing, meaning it's tight in the middle of the corner as well. Steve Letarte radioed back. It sounds like we didn't help the turning, but we didn't hurt the grip coming off the corner either. Matt?
Directly behind him is the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, slowly fading back. His car loose on late exit. Now Chad Knaus kept him out there. He was one of 7 drivers. They thought the car was coming around. Now they're planning what they're going to do to fix this race car on their next stop.
A lot of guys are thinking about that too. Boy, there is some racing action all around this place. And when we come back, we will take you through the field. Right now.
Side. Inside, 9 cars on your back bumper now. Clear low. Inside, inside. Clear low. Still inside, still inside. Clear low. Clear all around. Side. Clear.
KFC's Fiery Buffalo Boneless Wings. It's no bones, it's all flavor. Only at KFC. And by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears. Jeff Burton is the race leader by 2 seconds over Tony Stewart. Let's take you through the field. Here's Dave.
And Bill, he got that lead right after the restart, getting around Ryan Newman. Hopes to stay out in that clean air. Here's what Jeff had to say, fourth in the championship right now, about whether anyone's safe up at that point about making the chase.
The only two guys that are in are the first two guys. Those guys are in, barring a catastrophe. Those guys are in. But, you know, we don't think we're in by any means. We think we've done a nice job of positioning ourselves, but we're not there. We still have work to do, and 8 races is a lot of races. I believe that Elliott Sadler went to Sears Point 3rd or 4th in points last year and didn't make the chase. So, and it's tighter this year than it was last year. So anything can happen to good race teams and good drivers, and we've got to be on top of that.
Jeff likes the position he's in at this track. It's the 7th race he's led in 2006. Matt.
Tony Stewart, Dave, slowly reeling in the 31 of Burton. Yet to lead a lap today, but boy, he sure did last year. He finished first and second here, led 405 of 600 laps. Took 2 tires the last stop. Marty, the car just a tick in the center of the corner on the tight side.
Well, Matt, as they say up around here these parts, Kyle Busch is wicked fast right now. The car coming in very nicely. He's very pleased with it on the radio. Wants no changes on this next stop as of right now. That may change here in a moment. Drivers always reserve the right to change their mind. Kurt Busch, his brother, right behind him. Car very, very good right now. A little bit surprised. They kind of threw a setup at it this morning. More of a calculated guess of throwing at it. Roy McCauley told me this morning, today will be a challenge for us. Hopefully we hit it. So far, they have. Dave?
Crew Chief Steve Letarte told me that they had about 4 options for the way they wanted to set up Jeff Gordon's car for this race. They chose the one where the nose sticks to the ground the most, an aero position that he likes for his driver. Alan.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. started 25th. He's running 5th now. His team choosing not to pit under that last caution. Excuse me, Earnhardt Jr. slipping back to 6th a moment ago. Choosing not to pit under the caution to get that track position. Jr. called in on the radio a second ago to say, it's not real bad, just need a little help in the center, Marty.
Well, Alan, after that last stop, Brian Vickers learned two things. Number one, they still have a fast race car. Number two, as he came on the radio, said, man, it's hard to pass out here. He goes by the 8 car for the 6th position. Actually, yes, it is the 6th position for Brian Vickers right now. He said the car did come in quicker on this run, starting to get a little bit harder to turn for Brian. Matt?
Jimmy Johnson has settled into the 8th position. Chad Knaus told me this morning the team felt like comfort-wise Jimmy's the best he's been here since he swept both races in 2002. Trying to stay ahead of this racetrack as it changes with the heat out. Right now the car is just big time loose.
And Denny Hamlin next in line, running in 9th position. The rookie driver said he circled this race on his calendar at the beginning of the year. Why? Because he cut his teeth, his minor league racing career, if you will, on shorter, flatter tracks like this one. He felt this was a place they could do well, and he is doing well so far. Ryan Newman started on pole, did not pit under that first caution. He has slipped back now to the 10th position. Newman winless so far this year. He says it's been the most frustrating season he's had in Nextel Cup so far.
It's absolutely been the most frustrating season I've ever had in racing, period. But that makes you stronger, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. And I do know that all things go in cycles, no matter what they are. So hopefully we're cycling out.
Yeah, Ryan hoping to cycle back to the front in this one, too, and hoping not to slip any farther back in the field right now. Marty?
Alan, the best finish so far this season for Dave Blaney is 17th at Martinsville. They did not make a pit stop last time out, and he's held his position up in the front pretty nicely. Car feels good. They asked Dave, hey, you want any changes on the next stop? He simply said, nope. Alan?
Casey Kane trying to pick his way toward the front of the field. Casey told me before the start of the race, he said, my car was good yesterday in practice, and that worries me, because a lot of times when I think the car is good on Saturday, it's not as good Sunday. 2 tires on the stop. So far, so good for Casey. Marty?
Alan, earlier Bill talked about how Reed Sorenson expects to have a good run this weekend, coming off the momentum they had at Chicago and the nice finish there. Currently in the 13th position. They took 4 tires on the last stop, chattering the front end right there in the middle of the corner. That's the biggest problem for Reed. Matt?
Mark Martin told me at driver intros when he won at Kansas in that dominating fashion, he knows what that did for the team, boosting the confidence. That's what they need. Right ahead, Dave, is his teammate already passed by as Mark is just battling a very tight race car.
And his crew chief, Doug Richard, would hope that you think of Tony Tony Stewart when you look at the 16 car today. He said everyone is chasing the look of that orange 20 car about keeping that left front platform down on the ground. They're working toward that. Right behind them, the 01 of Joe Nemechek. Asked him this morning if he thought they had made some progress in their program. He said, I think we have a pretty good car today, and based on their first adjustment, slight air adjustment for a tight race car, I think they've got it. As for Kevin Harvick, well, he wants more than they gave me. He said, boys, we're going to have to do more than that next time. They only made a half round of wedge adjustment to try to fix that tight race car. Matt.
Kevin Magnuson trying to dial in the one car, much like their teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's running.
Inside corner. Inside. Inside. Inside corner. Inside. Still corner. Inside. Still on the corner. Clear. Still clear, still clear.
AmeriQuest, proud sponsor of the American dream.
Three wide, you're on the top. Still three. Still three. Inside corner. Stay in it. Clear all around. Still clear. Got your own little groove up there. Works good in traffic. That's the only place I can make it turn. Probably got a few laps of breathing room if you need to cool it back down there.
New race leader here in New Hampshire, Tony Stewart. Got around Jeff Burton just moments ago and took the lead for the first time today. Here's how it happened.
Coming off that second corner, gets a great run off the bottom of the racetrack. Jeff Burton sees him back there and realizes he's faster than he is, moves over, lets him go.
And that's what Jeff Burton kind of talked about on the pre-race show. It's a lot of give and take, especially on this 1 mile track. See if we can't sneak in the Allstate Good Hands driver. And this is what you were talking about on the countdown, Wally. You hit a guy accidentally, give him some space, let him get back in the race.
Yeah, Harvick got in the back of Greg Biffle in the 16, but he backed off. He let Greg gather it up. And I think Greg now realizes that, hey, that wasn't intentional.
And at that time, they were in a very tight pack of racing. Allstate, the official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. This is 7th place. Kurt Busch in the 2, Denny Hamlin in the 11. Hamlin trying to battle back for that position.
He's trying to run that Tony Stewart line. I'm sure that he's talked to Tony about getting around this racetrack, and he told him you can pass some cars, you can get it to Hamlin on the very bottom of the track.
Hamlin and Stewart, of course, teammates from Joe Gibbs Racing.
The tough thing is you get right here, you need the rest of the racetrack to drift up in front. He did it that time, but he couldn't pull that off the turn 4 the lap before.
Alan?
Benny, do you remember the first time you were in a real tight fight for the championship?
Oh, yes.
Denny Hamlin is in the mix to get into this chase for the Nextel Cup for the first time. Pretty amazing since he's a rookie driver. But I talked with Denny before the start of the race. How is that affecting you? He said, probably a lot more than I should be letting it. I want to know everything that's going on every minute of the race with every one of these guys that I'm racing. And he said, I just need to calm down and drive the race car, huh?
That would be a good idea.
Yeah, I'm sure you could give him some advice. You've been in these before.
Do you remember your battles for the championship, Wally?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
How'd they turn out?
I won a few, lost a few.
Very good.
Yeah.
Marty?
I was going to say, Bill, when was that? I don't remember Wally actually contending.
I'll show you the black and white photos, okay?
Okay, thank you very much. What we're seeing here is we're seeing some of the guys that are, 68 laps in the run, like Kurt Busch, who have not stopped, starting to lose the handle on the race car. See Kurt tight slide up in the middle of the corner of the car, will not turn. That's why that 48 was able to get underneath him, Matt.
Jimmy Johnson is running back in that 8th spot. The car is progressively getting worse. Chad Knaus cannot wait till that first stop so they can try to fix the 48. Meanwhile, up front, the 20 of Tony Stewart. Now, I spoke with Greg Zipadelli this morning. Talked a lot about chasing their 3rd championship, and NFL coaches will also tell you it's all about peaking at the right time. 3 times this year they've had some great runs, but also they've had some bad finishes, trying to put it all together. Dave, as we start inching ever closer to the chase, this is the kind of run this team needs to build some strong momentum.
Matt, Jeff Burton lost the lead, but he's not really complaining about the car right now. In fact, this team is elated. Yesterday when I talked to them during final practice, 2 different guys told me, we don't know where we are with this race car. Scott Merrill, the crew chief, confirmed that this morning. We didn't know where we were. We tried a lot of different things, went back to what we knew, but back to what we wanted to try, worked with Jeff, worked with my ideas, and I think they did a really good job.
We'll see how it plays out. Jeff Burton currently runs 2nd to Tony Stewart. Got his 26th career win at Daytona just a couple of weeks ago. Won here last year in this race.
Here, pretty move. Two car lengths back to the 24 now.
Getting into the corners, meaning the back end wants to kick around. Kurt gets a cool drink of water. And off the corners, it's tight, meaning the car does not want to turn. They take a pound on the left front tire to help that loose in condition. They also make a wedge adjustment, trying to help that tight off condition for Kurt Busch.
He heads down pit road. Michael Waltrip's been on pit road. Dave Blaney just completed his stop. We'll follow Busch out onto the track. And here comes Jeff Burton. Burton has led 37 laps today. Started outside the front row, 3/4 of the way down pit road, headed for Dave.
And Bill, this time he gives up the 4th position. Wants his crew to help this car turn a little bit better. The wrench they put through the rear window will adjust the chassis. That will help that. They will also adjust the air pressure in 2 of the tires. Again, trying to help this car go through these tight corners, tight and very flat corners, using these adjustments. Jeff will work on the left side now. The crew does. Get him down, and he's off pit road. Clean getaway.
Good stop for that bunch.
Now they just got to hope that the caution flag doesn't come out before this thing cycles through. And it might be 15, 20 laps before Tony Stewart pits.
Because what did we see yesterday?
Same thing. The car. Oh, no. Oh, no.
It did look like he was coming in hot, and they've got that line is way back there. And you can see he really got on the brakes when he's coming to the pits. I was wondering about that.
And he's talking about a speeding ticket for Jeff Burton entering pit road. He will have to do a pass-through penalty that will be extremely costly. Ryan Newman heads down pit road. Alan.
Oh boy, Bill, there's a whole laundry list of adjustments they're going to make on this Dodge. They're going to make a wedge and track bar adjustment. That means you'll see the wrenches go in both sides of the back window. They've made air pressure adjustments on both left and right side tires as well. So the driver sitting on pole, there you see the adjustment on that right rear wedge bolt. He has had his hands full so far, slipping back in this race.
And the Penske guys send Ryan Newman back out on the track.
And Junior decides to come down pit road toward Alan Bestwick.
I'm going to be busy down here for a minute, huh? Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr., another one of the guys that did not pit earlier. So this risky stop here, a 4-tire stop. And let's check on Jimmy Johnson's stop first.
Championship point leader is in. Now they've already made a huge track bar adjustment. The car's snappy loose, but also tight, Alan.
Just minor adjustments for Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car. He reported just a little while ago the car is still a little bit lacking front grip in the center of the corner, but overall he's fairly pleased.
And there is Jeff Burton. They black flagged him, a pass-through penalty.
Below.
Watch as he comes in here. I caught this out of my corner of my eye. He really is carrying a lot of speed. Then all of a sudden he gets real hard on the brakes there.
Heard just a hint of his radio. Have to believe he was did not believe he was guilty. Dave, you got some more on this?
He could not believe he was guilty, Bill. I mean, no, he was incredulous. He said, guys, I was 300 RPM below my marks. They test this on the pace laps with the pace car, and Jeff takes note of it. He said, I was below that. What he doesn't understand, Wally, is what you pointed out, that getting on pit road appears to have been the problem.
Marty, what are you working on?
Well, Bill, just checking the tires that came off Kurt Busch's car. This is the right rear tire, and it's not significant, but you can see the cord starting to show on the right rear tire right there around the edge of the right rear tire for Kurt Busch. 78 laps. laps were on those tires. We have not had any reported tire issues this weekend, but we have had tire problems in the past here at New Hampshire.
And just to get back to the point you were trying to make, Benny, these guys that have been on pit road hoping the caution doesn't come out.
Yes, and the guys that stopped early, they want the caution to come out to penalize those other guys for not stopping at lap 20.
About a 19-lap difference between the guys that did and did not stop. We'll keep an eye on pit road when we continue from New Hampshire.
Still there. All clear, all clear. Don't worry about it, buddy. Don't worry about it. We'll get back in this thing.
I just don't understand it. I just do not understand it. I want to know what zone, and I want to know how much too fast we were, because I'm going to back my RPMs up. I mean, I just don't understand.
Somebody down there on the ground, get with the tower, figure out where we said, figure out how fast we were going, figure out how fast we were going on the down through.
Okay, Denver, just give me that information when you get it.
It was about the third, fourth box in. They say where we're going 50.4, and on the pass-through we were going 47.7 in the same area. So we got to use the pass-through.
All right, well, I'm going to back it down to 200 RPM.
Yeah, poor buddy, going to go at 48 now. Up against the outside wall. Let him go there.
Just a little tight off, Todd.
Tony, Ryan Newman in the 12 car, David Stremme.
Yeah, just Newman went in there really, really deep. You can see he even got on the gas a little bit after he initially got on the brakes. Watch here. He goes in, and then you see another surge right here, and then the car just slides up the racetrack and gets into Tony. And that smoke is not from the tires. That's from Tony's helmet.
Full speed.
Tony made some contact with the outside retaining wall. Don't know how much damage. Meanwhile, here comes the leaders on the pit road.
It's overheating, too.
Yeah.
Marty.
Well, because of all that, Brian Vickers now inherits the lead. He said the car was very good for a very long time during that run. He said it loses the nose a little bit through the center of the corner. Kind of a long time on the right front. This is going to be a decent stop for the 25 bunch, Dave.
Jeff Gordon was about to pit under green. He said, I feel like I'm losing the tires. We may need to pit very, very soon. This yellow was a good thing for them. 4-tire change. Big adjustment for Jeff. Alan.
A 4-tire change with track bar and air pressure adjustments for Denny Hamlin. Pretty solid day for the rookie so far, Matt.
And they just surveyed the damage on the 20 car, Tony Stewart. Apparently, they also hold the radiator. He's taken the car back. It was overheating, as well as the other cosmetic damage and possibly tow-out issues for the 20. The Home Depot guys quickly going to work to try to lose as little time as possible.
Tony Stewart came in here 7th in the standings, but just 55 points. Have had a 10th place Jeff Gordon. He pumped up a season with a win at Daytona, but in 3 of the last 4 races, 28th or worse.
Available on digital cable.
You gonna run at 230 all day long, or you gonna take the tape off?
I was happy with 220, but running 230,
That was at the start of the race. I mean, it's gonna keep going up.
all right, I'll take care of you on the next stop. Probably gonna do the same thing that we stayed out, so you get the choice the inside or the outside. The one you want there, whenever they give you the one to go, whatever.
1 to go. Who's on the 20? I didn't see it. You guys have to tell me in there. We don't stick them out. Hey, Billy, if you're about 16 down, let's get this stuff situated here. It's going to be a mess. Yes, sir. 55 is going to be holding them up on the bottom. He's ahead of you there in 96, so we'll have to work around them. We'll get them.
From the stories of Stephen King, the 4-week.
Green, green, green. Inside. Clear, spin in front of you. Go low, go low. Stay right there, stop. There you go, middle. All right, just watch your back. Good job there, man.
Jeff Gordon's got a little bit of damage there right on the hood and the opening. Well, that could be trouble for the radiator right there, BP. You may have to fix that or it might overheat.
It really could, because they get most of the air through the grill between the bumper and the hood.
It's going to be a huge break for a number of guys that were on the tail end of the lead lap. They're able to come around and get back in line and stay on the lead lap because of the caution flag coming out. That includes Jeff Burton, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Matt Borland is the crew chief for Ryan Newman.
10-4 pick with NASCAR. Guys, take a look at what we got. Get 4 tires on it. We'll be going back out.
Alan?
What Matt Borland was asking about is he wanted to know if at the last scoring loop they crossed, they were in front of the leader and were on the lead lap. That's what he was asking about. It makes a difference as to what they do here. A lot of damage on the front of that car. I see liquid dripping from the nose. They might have punched the radiator on Newman's car.
Yeah, there's liquid coming out there. You see it right there. So that
Guys,
is
we got to pull the hood, Ryan. Don't go.
trouble.
So they'll take out the hood bins, raise the hood, do a visual inspection. We'll go to a replay, start on the freeze, look at the middle of the screen. There's Ryan Newman inside the circle.
It's just an accordion effect there. The guy's checked up in front of him, and
Michael
Ryan's
Walter. Michael in the 55 car gets in the back of Ryan, and
Schrader got a piece of it. That's Casey Kane in the 9, Jeff Gordon.
Wally, if If he has a broken radiator, that means that Casey Kane must have some damage.
I think it was Schrader's the one that may have done the damage when he swung around and hit the front of Ryan Newman.
It's very hard to get to the garage here off of pit road. So Newman is backing down pit road. AB?
All right, Newman is going to the garage. They do need a radiator on that car. You see Casey Kane here on pit. There's Newman backing up. Casey Kane, you saw in the accident coming into it from behind. He's on pit road now, getting the front end of his car looked at. There it is. You see a look at some of the damage there. They're checking that opening where the air goes into this car, just under what would be the left front headlight. Dave?
The 24 car of Jeff Gordon came down pit road. He had damage on the front end. What crew chief Steve Letarte asked Clay Robinson, the front tire changer, to do was to look under the left front to make sure he didn't see fluids dripping down, see if they had broken anything in the cooling system. They had not. They put 4 fresh tires on, filled them full of fuel, and sent Jeff back out. They think they're okay.
Bobby Labonte was the lucky dog. A number of guys have been on and off of pit road. I'll update you on that in a second. Here's another look.
Well, you see they're just all going down in the corner, and the guys just start checking up a lot of braking here. And Michael just gets into the back of Ryan, and it's just one of those accordion things we see it a lot of times on a restart.
On board with Michael Waltrip in the 55 car.
He goes in and just touches that 12 car enough in the rear that he goes around.
12, go low, go low.
And Matt Borland, the crew chief, is watching that and saying, I can't believe this. Matt?
BP, the 20 car back in the garage, the team going to work. Smoke, very interesting situation trying to work your way through some lap traffic there.
Well, it wasn't a lap traffic, it was Ryan trying to get his lap back, but you know, after a while you finally get tired of giving guys spots and them not doing the same thing, and you know, you watch Ryan at the beginning of the race and he held a 2 car up, and you know, we just bullied our way by him and never touched him, but you know, we did what we needed to do to get by, and you know, he's just becoming a king. There's a bunch of these young guys that they tell us every week about give and take in the drivers' meetings, and you know, there's a reason they tell you that. But you know, you race this, you know, all I did was race him the same way he's been racing us, and you know, he just crashed us. So I mean, I don't even think he tried to make the corner.
You've said time and time again that you feel like some people should spend more time in the Busch series when Mark Martin and Jeff Burton and those guys were on, because they showed the give and take.
Well, you know, before the TV switch here, the guys were saying that, you know, we're supposed to race every lap. Well, I guarantee you, if Darrell Waltrip and those guys had to race 500 laps like they're trying to ask us to race right now, it wouldn't be so fun either. But, you know, it does take patience. You know, Kyle Busch, the 25 car, you know, everybody I didn't have any problems with anybody. And then, you know, Ryan, when you race him the way he races you, he just decides to dump you instead.
Points-wise, this has to be frustrating.
Yeah, it is. It's real frustrating because the team deserves more than this. So, wow. We've got shots fired everywhere. It's a generator starting, but, you know, nothing we can do about it. I mean, we'll just, you know, I got a great group of guys over there that are going to do everything they can to get this thing fixed the best they can so we can go out and try to keep as many points as possible. But it's frustrating when you got a guy that's outside the top 10 and won't make the chase. That's trying to ruin it for everybody else.
43 car spins. When you talk about points, over the last 7 races, Stewart has gone from 93 markers out to over 285 coming into New Hampshire, and that's going to take another hit today, Bill.
And you're right, that's the hardest thing, because Stewart's been running good enough to be solidly in the top 10 for the chase. But those guys, I mean, last week they run out of gas right at the end of the race. I mean, those guys, they've got a good race team, and they're running good, and it's very frustrating when you get taken out in a situation like that.
And just to underscore that, in the 8 races just prior to Lowe's, he had 6 top 6 finishes and a worst of 12. Then 42nd at Lowe's with the crash, finishes of 25th or worse in 5 of the last 7. He went from 2nd, just 93 points behind 1st, to 7th, only 102 points ahead of 11th in 7 races. And right now, Tony Stewart is 11th in the championship standings as these cars run here. Caution is out. 100.
What was that caution for? I don't know. I was watching you.
43 spun.
Coming to 1 to go. Another lap car coming, June.
You are watching the Lennox Industrial Tools 300 from the New Hampshire International Speedway on NASCAR In-Car. Only available on digital cable.
Clear low, slow car on the bottom, 2 cars in front of you. Clear. Clear low if you need it.
He knows now.
Yeah, or he was hoping when he came off the corner that Michael would back up a little bit. That wasn't the case. Kyle Busch just took the lead from Vickers.
Sure did while we were watching that. So Kyle Busch, the new race leader.
Oh, wow. A lot of rub on that left front. Somehow Jimmy Johnson got into somebody.
Jimmy Johnson, the championship leader. Johnson.
Man, are they jammed up. There we see our new leader, Kyle Busch.
Vickers now in second.
Well, those 2 cars are very, very good today.
This is the first race of the second half of the season. Just 8 races remain before the cutoff for the chase for the championship. Vickers going back around his teammates. So Kyle Busch got him some bonus points, and Vickers retakes the lead.
Yeah.
Marty.
Well, Bill, when the teams tested together, the Hendrick Motorsports teams all went up to Milwaukee and really exchanged ideas. You know, they drove each other's race cars, and clearly it has helped their flat track program. Kyle Busch drove Brian Vickers' car, Brian drove Kyle's car, and that information they gained from that test has helped them from the get-go this weekend. They're extremely fast in race runs, proving out 1-2 on the racetrack right now, Matt.
Championship point leader Jimmy Johnson runs back in 25th. Now his crew chief Chad Canals just told him it is smoking pretty good on that left front. It is up to Jimmy. Jimmy's decision whether to pit or not. Jimmy's deciding as he goes 3 wide down the front straightaway whether to pit. The crew guys are on the wall if he decides to hit pit road and pull out that fender.
Thanks, Matt. Let's go back and see if we can see what happened here.
There he is up at the top of the screen. Looks like he got into Stremming in the 40 car, and that's where he got the damage. Now, normally, you know, that'll stop after a while. You hope with the new tires it's going to scrape off enough rubber where it will stop smoking, but so far it hasn't.
There are 8 races left before the final drivers will participate in the chase are set. Over the Of the current top 15 drivers in points, Casey Mears has the lowest point production in the remaining 8 races over the past 2 seasons. So he's produced the least amount of points in the next 8 races. Guess who is second on that list?
Jimmy Johnson.
Exactly right. They have not really delivered in the 8 races leading up to the chase. The last 2 years, he has been the leader at the halfway mark, as he is again this year. There you see right now, Hamlin and Greg Biffle are in.
I think Jimmy Johnson almost got in the wall on the right side coming off of 4.
See, Tony Stewart just 9 points behind Biffle. Jeff Gordon 22 back. But Biffle is currently running in the 5th position. He needs to stay in the top 5 to maintain the top 10.
Also, if Jimmy Johnson was to fall out or have a bad finish, that would definitely bring the 400-point mark into play as we head toward the cutoff and the chase for the championship. Brian Vickers looking for his first Nextel Cup Series win.
Inside. Low if you'd like, clear low. Yellow flag for debris. Tony Jr., we need to know 8 or 18 at the time of the caution. All right. There you go in front. 42.8. 42.8. Staying out right here.
Liverpool Golf Club. After missing the
16 right there. Slid to right rear end pretty big, about a 3, and just didn't feel like a good set of tires. All right, 10-4. We led them the first.
165 up here where I'm at, but what about the motor temperatures? Would that be any different?
Yeah, it's really hot. It's like 215 and 237.
You watch my brother Eli play against the Cowboys. Oh, I've got to run. Actually, I think I'll pass.
Pump fake. Touchdown!
Buy NFL Sunday Ticket. Get 4 months of our best programming package for free. There's good TV, there's better TV, and then there's direct TV.
Mom, Dad, this is my boyfriend, Ted.
Whoa, you look...
One outside 95. To the wall. shook real hard for about 6 or 7. So the car was awesome. Everything was awesome. Caution came out, and then I went off into one and bowled way over. Felt like I was losing there in the right front. And now I got this set, and it's just slick getting into one. Just slides right all the way to the center. It still slides nose a little bit, but that was something that hadn't been happening, getting in shit. But we'll see. Four. Ain't got really nothing I can tell you that'll make any sense.
Coming to the green, Jim. Coming to the green. Cars coming, June.
Green flag, green flag. Clear up ahead, all clear, clear.
Inside. Still inside corner. Inside corner. Still inside. Still inside. Clear all around. Clear all around.
Brand new race cars here, and Reed had the very first one. He tested it in Milwaukee, said he loved it from the first time he sat in it. The car's a little bit loose going into the corners. He said, otherwise, don't touch it, guys. Perfect right now. In the lead, too.
How did Kyle Busch know it was a little loose getting in the corner to get in that room?
You know, when you're going in a corner like that, you've got a guy and you kind of look over to your left. He knew because he definitely drove up the racetrack because he knew he was coming.
Benny, you've talked about momentum so much in this series. Reed Sorenson with a strong run at Chicago has shown some success in the Busch series and now out front here in New Hampshire.
It looks to me like the last 2 or 3 weeks Reed Sorenson, Jimmy Elledge, the crew chief, have started getting on the same page, starting to communicate. Remember last fall, Casey Mears drove this 41 car, and they were very, very good. Texas and also Homestead could have easily won those races.
Sorensen 7th at Chicago a week ago. An update on the championship leader from Matt.
Jimmy Johnson says the car is just all over the racetrack, loose. He felt like it was on ice. Then he made contact. The team worked on the fender. They used a baseball bat to try to roll it out to fix the tire rub. They also pulled the spring rubber. Also track bar adjustment, trying to make some big swings at this 48 car adjustment-wise to get it back in the park, because right now he's back in 32nd. Alan?
Brian Newman back into the race after repairs on his car. We documented that when they were back in the garage. Had some radiator issues and other repairs, but they continue to plug on, hoping to get as many points as they can.
And Newman in the 12 car is currently being shown in 43rd position.
And who's right in front of him there?
Tony Stewart in 42nd.
Very disappointing, as Ryan Newman talked about earlier in the race. Very frustrating season. There you see Tony Stewart back out on the track as well. 23 laps down. And he's got a long way to go to try and pick up any points.
Yeah, there's no fun right there. Your car's not handling well. You're mad. You're down a bunch of laps. And you got a lot of laps left to just go around and hope that somebody in front of you drops out so you can pick up 1 or 2 positions.
Each position worth 3 points.
And there you see, aside from Pocono and Daytona, it has been a battle for the 20 bunch. Matt?
Bill, 6 times this year they have finished top 3. 6 times they have finished 25th or worse. But this 2-time championship winning team knows what it takes to be in the hunt for a title. And with the chase format, they just have to hunker down. They know they've got some great racetracks coming up. Their teammate won Pocono, which is next week, back in June. Stewart and his 20 team won Indy last year. They've got some great tracks coming up to bounce back. They can't let their heads get low. Now he just has to go out, ride it out for the rest of this day, and just take what he can get.
And that may not be a lot here at New Hampshire. Stewart again back in the 42nd spot. Reed Sorenson is the race leader.
Meanwhile, Greg Biffle, the 16 car, has closed up right on the back bumper of Kyle Busch.
We just want to sort out for you a number of cars running on a different sequence of pit stops here. The guys that just pitted on lap 116 include Brian Vickers, Hamlin, Mears, Stremme, Kenseth, Elliott Sadler, Blaney, Schrader, and Jimmy Johnson. And they are at the back of the field. Hamlin is in 20th spot. Dave on the new second place man, Greg Biffle.
His crew chief Doug Grisham and I had a quick conversation about adjustments on the car. I said, "Did you go crazy on it? Did you need a lot?" And he goes, "You know what? I only added 1 pound of air pressure to one corner of the car, one tire." Said we really feel pretty good about the car and have not made any major adjustments.
Marty, what are you working on?
Well, Bill, you made a great point just a moment ago. That's exactly what's happening to Kyle Busch. Their last pit stop, lap 92. And this is the portion of the run under green flag where his car just starts to go away. It's too hard to turn in the middle of the corner. And he says from the middle of the corner off, I just do not have the drive off of the corner that these other guys have. That's where Greg Biffle pulled away from him. And earlier his teammate, Brian Vickers, that's where Kyle is losing all of his time from the middle of the corner off. And Benny, you know, here at New Hampshire, that's a killer, isn't it?
You've got to be able to get back on the throttle and drive it off the corner. That's the only way that you can pass anyone is drive off the corner, get position on them, and beat them down to the next corner.
Reed Sorenson is the race leader coming out of the NASCAR Busch Series. His first season in the Nextel Cup Series, looking for his first win. Oh yeah, and he's all of 20 years old.
To those who say NASCAR isn't a sport, they may be right.
Mini moments from Sharpie Mini.
Whoa.
Sharpie Mini. Sharpie Mini, now in 20 bold colors.
So let me get this straight. You drive over 180 miles per hour every weekend. You've been involved in over 100 accidents, and you've totaled your car 19 times.
State Farm is proud to insure safety advocate and NASCAR driver Jeff Burton.
His personal car.
And safe drivers everywhere. Call an agent today.
If you don't mind signing here and here. Oh, and if you can just sign up here somewhere.
Still there, still there. Still there. Still there, still there. Still there. Clear, clear. Very nice, buddy, very nice. Get away from it.
So to vote, text the word race to 191. And we'll get your answer later on in this race. And there might be some new rivalries before this one's over. Dave, how about Burton?
He's had a rivalry with being way back in the pack and then fighting through all the traffic to get back up toward the front. Done a really remarkable job after they had that getting caught under green flag conditions with a caution, having already pitted. So he's made his way back up all the way, I think, to 11th now, or 10th now, Bill. So quite a run for these guys coming back through.
Thank you, Dave. Boy, when he gets back to victory lane, and he will before this season is over, maybe even before the chase begins, there is going to be a huge celebration. Not just him, but all of Childress Racing.
That's Scott Riggs, the 10 car, behind Jeff Burton in the 11th position. Truex in 9th.
And he's won. Truex faring a lot better in this race than the race where he sat in for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dave, what do you got now?
The 10 car of Scott Riggs just behind the 31 of Jeff Burton. You know, he started the day 42nd, had a very loose car during qualifying, and he's made his way all the way up to the 11th position, not by staying out all the time, not by making 2 tire stops. Crew Chief Rodney Childers told me 4 tire stops with everybody all day long. Just
I didn't know it until I got done, but it's all right. Everything's fine. The car just broke a motor, I think, and that's a shame, man. We haven't had any engine failures in a long time. I'm real proud of my engine department. I know those guys ain't going to take this very easily, but hopefully they'll just keep at it, man. We just got a chase to make, and everybody just stay focused, and we'll get right through this.
And Junior last year, he was 13th at this juncture in the season. Came into this race here at New Hampshire 3rd, like AB mentioned.
And Matt, only 1 DNF for the 8 bunch so far in 2006. That was the engine failure at Talladega, so this will be their 2nd. And when we go to the next page of this, look at the number of points, 403. Back to 10th.
Hey, a lot of these guys are going to start getting nervous, BP, because when you have days like this, it doesn't take long. You could be out of this thing before you get to Richmond.
That's what Jeff Burton said. He said, we're by no means into this chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup.
And we've got a long way to go here at Loudon, approaching the halfway mark in the Lennox Industrial Tools 300.
Pretty good. Okay, the 16 car behind you is now the leader.
Hey.
What are you doing?
Giving away a balloon. His own rules.
If Malone told you to jump.
In the 20 car.
Stewart is currently 42nd, 23 laps down, but on the ensuing restart, Ryan Newman gets a tap from Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, they all get jammed up here, according to effect. Michael gets in the back of the 12, the 21 hits the 12.
And guess what? He has a broken radiator.
Yeah. And Ryan Newman currently scored 43rd, 28 laps down. Championship leader Jimmy Johnson getting together with David Stremme.
Little contact, left front's got a big tire rub, but Jimmy Johnson's got his hands full even without that rub today.
He's currently 22nd. Dale Earnhardt Jr., we just talked to him a few minutes ago, lost a motor, his second DNF of 2006. Our DLP race recap. And here are guys hoping to contend for the Nextel Cup Championship. Johnson, Kenseth has not had a great day. Junior is out. Jeff Burton running better from the outside of the front row. Casey Kane has struggled throughout most of the day. Some of these big positions were basically picked up through a different sequence of pit stops. Mark Martin runs in the 7th spot. Stewart crashed. Kyle Busch runs 2nd right now.
Kyle Busch is really the guy that's probably capitalizing the most out of that list of drivers so far.
And one of the drivers making a strong comeback is Jeff Gordon, who restarted this run in 19th and is currently scored in the 10th position.
And the driver that was 11th going in is Greg Biffle in the 16 car, the current leader.
And as they run now, Biffle 10th in the championship standings. And they have struggled this season as well. Biffle got the win at Darlington, but they have really had to work hard around Newman's car. Dale Earnhardt Jr. now officially out of the race.
We're on board with Kenny Schrader as he looks back at Ryan Newman.
Biffle trying to put Jeremy Mayfield 1 lap down on the 19 car. Get underneath him and get by Newman. And Kenny Schrader, he's in 30th spot. He'd be the next car to go down 1 lap if Biffle can pass him.
Greg Biffle has been a challenger for the championship. He wants to be in that position again, but he's going to need a strong finish here today. He's up front. We'll take you all the way through the field when NASCAR on TNT continues.
This is Duralast, the alternator.
Five. Knuckleheads here. 26 is the lap up there in front of you guys.
He needed to work with us. I've run him down from forever away.
Message delivered, bud. Message delivered. Still there, still there. Clear, clear. Five. You'll stay down out of your way.
From the driver of that orange 31. As for the guys behind him, the 10 of Scott Riggs being one of them, just check with Rodney Childers, his crew chief, really tight off the corner now. I mean, really, as he exits the corner, that car wants to push toward the ball. And the 24 of Jeff Gordon, loose in, tight in the middle, loose off. Expect a number of adjustments on the DuPont Chevrolet when Jeff Gordon next hits pit road, which should also be around lap 185. Marty.
Well, Dave, when you have a car this fast, Brian Vickers knows he has a chance to win this race. He restarted 24th back on lap 119. Now he's in the 12th position. He's being very patient as he works through the field. Again, the car, very good. They expect no changes on the next stop, Dave.
Robbie Gordon started this race in the rear of the pack, and I did check with his crew chief, Greg Irwin, to see if they, like we checked with some other guys, had not taken tires on some stops, things like that. Greg said, nope, guys have fallen out of the race. We've passed a lot of cars, and Robbie has driven his way all the way up to the 13th position. Right behind him, it's the 66 of Jeff Green, another car that's having a good run. Jeff needs to pit like the other guys on or around lap 185 or 186. Marty.
Well, Dave, a little while ago, a very exhausted Kurt Busch came on the radio, said, man, this is hard driving. This thing is all over the place. Loose into the corner, tight in the middle, loose off, just cannot be aggressive with the throttle. And you see him wash up the racetrack, and there's a battle for the lead, Bill.
Kyle Busch under Greg Biffle. And Kyle Busch recaptures the lead, at least for the moment. Kyle Busch, the new race leader, will step out, come back for pit stops live from New Hampshire.
Hey, Tony. Sorry about spinning you out last.
Still there. Clear, clear. Slow ahead on the top. Clear. All clear. Clear. Nice job. Go get that 12.
29 getting ready for tires done on Harvick, and he is off pit road. Jeff Gordon also on pit road right now. They've been talking about different adjustments that they want to do on Jeff's car. They finally reasoned that they've got to get the track bar down. That's why the wrench went in the window. They moved that down. That'll help tighten that car up for Jeff. He is out. Looking high. The 31 car of Jeff Burton coming in as well. Remember, he said you've got to help this car turn in the middle of the corner. So the crew is going to a chassis adjustment as well. They'll also make air pressure adjustments for Burton. Again, trying to win his first Nextel Cup race in 5 years. He's a winner. He just wants to revisit victory lane. They've overcome a lot, and now he leaves pit road. Looks like a good stop.
These occurring on lap 182. So Burton rolls back off of pit road. Here comes Kurt Busch. Headed for you, Marty.
Yeah, he's had a handful, especially here at the end of the run, Bill. They're going to make several changes to this 2 car, trying to make it a little bit better this morning. They went more towards their teammate Ryan Newman in terms of setup. They're going to make the track bar adjustment. They're going to go up 1.5 rounds on the track bar. They're going to go down 1 round on the left rear wedge bolt. The car is both loose and tight. They're hoping those will fix those conditions for Kurt Busch and put the last tire on. He's back out on the racetrack.
Kyle Busch continues to lead. Green flag pit stops. Again, a number of drivers on different sequences because a handful of guys stopped on lap 116. Kyle Busch benefiting from the problems of Tony Stewart, among others. Making that climb in the championship standings, waving that he'll be coming to pit road this time.
Here, nice and easy.
Give up the race lead and try and avoid a speeding penalty. Marty.
And Bill Kyle was kind of surprised as to how strong his race car was at the end of that run. He said in terms of the shattering of the nose, the tight condition that they have, that's Rick Pigeon, the jackman you're looking at live. Those are some awesome shots from our director, Mike Wells. He said in terms of that bad condition, it's about a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. That's good. The car very strong at the end of that run. And what a quick stop for the 5 bunch. That'll help out big time, Matt.
Mark Martin just leaving. His car had really come to him. No adjustments for the 6.
Biffle has been on and off of pit road. Carl Edwards has also stopped. Brian Vickers currently scored as the race leader. Dave Burns.
As you mentioned, Bill, Greg Biffle on and off of pit road. Slight air pressure adjustment only. Car just a little bit tight. Greg's also been battling a sticking brake pedal, but has not complained about it in the last 30 laps or so. So hopefully that situation has been corrected.
See, Reed Sorenson, the 41 car, stopped about 5 or so laps before Greg Biffle. You see how much space that he made up with those fresh tires? Because he was 2 or 3 seconds behind the 16 car. He made all those up with those fresh tires.
Car in the wall in turn 2, Kenny Wallace. Drops the window net. The caution flag is out.
I'm okay.
Well, that's going to mix things up.
Boy, you're not kidding. 6th caution of the day.
It's going to put a bunch of guys a lap down.
Scoring monitor says that Biffle, Kyle Busch, and Sorenson are still on the lead lap. Carl Edwards.
Let it update one more time as they come by. But right now, Vickers, Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson, Bobby Labonte, Matt Kenseth, Blaney, Casey Mears, David Stremme would be the big winners in this situation. Marty?
Well, Bill, this worked out beautifully for Brian Vickers. Of all the bad decisions it seemed like they made earlier in the race, now they're one of the few cars on the lead lap if this comes to fruition, and clearly one of the best cars on the lead lap. When the caution came out, the crew erupted in a big yell. They were very happy down here to see this caution.
Ken Schrader is the lucky dog. We'll get back on the lead lap. And pit road is open. So let's see what happens here.
If all those cars are still on the lead lap, Brian Vickers is no better off than he was because they're going to stay on the racetrack.
Yeah, the guys that just pitted are going to stay on the racetrack and get all that track position.
While Vickers heads for pit road. Hamlin also coming. Jimmy Johnson behind him, then Bobby Labonte. Matt?
And what a run for Jimmy Johnson. He was all the way back in 32nd and made his way up through. So the car is getting better and better. Small air pressure adjustment, small track bar adjustment. Marty?
Brian Vickers continues to say his car is excellent, just a little bit loose all the way through the corner. Pretty free as he described it. 4 tires and no changes for the 25 bunch. Alan?
Going to make an air pressure adjustment on the left side tires for Denny Hamlin. And Bill and Benny, while we were talking about strategy here, the difference is if these guys had to make that pit stop under green, they probably would have lost a lap to Biffle and Kyle Busch and so on. So this might have actually turned out to be a break for them. They at least get to stay on the lead lap and gain a little bit of distance on the racetrack overall on those leaders.
There's the Nextel race off of pit road. And Kenseth picking up a position. Bobby Labonte giving one away.
Although that's not how they'll be lined up.
No.
Green flies.
That's just the race off of pit road. We'll sort out the running order and go back to green flag racing when we come back to New Hampshire. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
out. We'll have to go back by them.
Yeah, 10-4.
Tell the 6 I'm going to line up on the inside. I think we've been really able to go hard on restart.
10-4, buddy. 10-4. You do have the option, buddy. You do have the option. I'll let the 6 know what you're doing.
A couple timely spaced yellows or none. They're saying we got to go all the way to tail end along this line. Will's lucky dog. Go around right now?
Don't have to go around. We just got to restart. They got a little confused there. I mean, we're back there anyway. You're okay. Just be at the longest line.
Okay, but we're still on the lead lap 17. Whatever.
Not the official tools of...
We're okay, though. We got a break there, either way.
Go like hell when they start this deal here up. Don't give them no time, because they're going to get back around on you. The problem I've had, David, is trying to go like hell. It won't go like hell. I understand it, but it's all you got to do. You got to give me all you can give me. Doing that.
Hey, buddy. All right. One to go when you get here. One to go to the line.
Lined up next to the leader.
from the stories of Stephen King. The 4-week television event of the summer. 2 all-new stories. Wednesday at 9.
Pace car's pulling off. Ready. Ready. Green flag, green flag. Everything's good on the start.
The top 5.
But all they can do is just ride along and follow these cars and hope that the C's part someplace along the way.
And this was set up by the sequence of pit stops, guys pitting under green, then the caution coming out, and the guys up front coming to pit road under the caution while the other drivers stayed on the track. They have the proper track position, but they're just at the tail end of the lead lap and basically a mile behind the race leader.
Now Busch gets on the inside of Sterling Marlin in 14, trying to put him a lap down, so Biffle is going to try to follow.
And this is where you've got to be patient. You just can't force the issue. You've got a lot of give and take, especially between Busch, Biffle, and Sorenson.
Riggs, Martin, Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, Martin Truex, Casey Kane, J.J. Yaley among the drivers on the tail end of the lead lap. Marty on the race leader.
And Bill, remember, Kyle Busch had a situation very similar to this. He had the fastest car earlier this year at Phoenix, was back in traffic because of a problem on pit road, and was not very patient coming back up through the field. They have reiterated to him several times, you must be patient as you work your way through these cars. Clearly, we have a fast car. Let's take care of it, Matt.
Jimmy Johnson and the 48 team doing what they have done all year long, making the best of a bad situation when they seem to struggle. The car just getting better and better. He worked his way back around the 17 of Kenseth, who ended the day second in points behind Johnson. Now Matt has had issues with the brakes. He says, at the end of a run, I have hardly any pedal left, and then the car goes tight. They have made a number of adjustments all day. They spent most of the first part of the race in the back. They have worked their way through pit cycles, now in the top 10.
I'll tell you what, that 48 team has come to this track, had some really bad luck, and they end up winning the race.
Trouble off turn 4.
1 car, 2 cars are involved. Joe Nemechek, Brian Vickers. The disadvantage, as you talked about earlier, of restarting in the back.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's probably when you get in a situation. I mean, Vickers, they had to make that pit stop, but with all those guys getting in front of them, you get put in a position in the middle of the pack where if anything happens, you could be in it. There's Nemechek's car, and Brian Vickers has got some damage on the right front. You can see the hood is crushed. That race car that was so dominant just went out the window on that wreck.
It looks like that Burton, Mark Martin, Scott Riggs, Clint Boyer, Kurt Busch, Robbie Gordon, Jeff Gordon. How many cars got a lap?
Jeff Green,
back?
Casey Kane, Martin Truex Jr., J.J. Yaley, about a dozen guys that were at the tail end of the lead lap needed that caution. They got it, and they're going to come around and rejoin the field. Catch this a little bit late.
Oh my gosh.
Looks like the 25 got into Nemechek for whatever reason. Didn't know if they just checked up or what. We got into it a little bit late, but lots of damage to Joe's car. And enough damage to that 25 where you can just take 2 or 3 tenths of a second off of those laps from now on.
On board with Nemechek.
The Colonel is going for a ride.
Really didn't look like Joe checked up or anything in front of him.
Marty.
And
guys, Brian Vickers is extremely upset with Denny Hamlin, said to relay a message to a spotter that he was unhappy about the contact out there. Clearly, they've had a fast car all day long, and their chances to win are certainly hurt. A lot of right front damage. This has been a summary right here of how the 25 team season has gone. They have run very well, been fast in races, just cannot get the finishes to show for it.
So Vickers heads back out. Sterling Marlin is the lucky dog. He will become the 29th car on the lead lap. Pit road is open. Leaders stay out. We'll take a break from New Hampshire. Kyle Busch leads Greg Biffle.
I wouldn't imagine we could fix that one.
Second win, bud. I can feel it.
Race-proven protection. Life takes ambition.
And long here, and we can come in and be done with it, and all those other guys will have to pit again. Simple.
One to go this time. One to go. And 96, 42, and 40 in front of you. Just be patient with them.
You are watching the Lennox Industrial Tools 300 from the New Hampshire International Speedway on NASCAR.
Cars on the lead lap. Wow. Kenny Wallace is officially out of the race. Joe Nemechek is officially out of the race. So Tony Stewart, who scored in 41st position, has an opportunity to pick up a few more points. And the way that's going, those could be very valuable when we get to Richmond. Stewart currently 11th in the championship standings as they've run on the track. Busch leads Biffle, Sorenson, Edwards, Harvick, and Hamlin. Jimmy Johnson, David Stremme, Casey Mears, and Tony Raines, the top 10. Here we go. 96 to go.
Kyle Busch drove it in there. Trying to get, he wants to get away from Biffle.
Around the lap cars in that 11 or 41 rather. And Carl Edwards trying to make a move.
Carl was starting to show a little bit of muscle there right before that last yellow came out. His lap times were really competitive.
Carl in the 99 Office Depot Ford. Alan Alan, you covering Carl today?
Yeah, and I talked with his crew chief Wally Brown a little while ago, Bill, and was watching those lap times myself. It doesn't appear that his car takes off very well in the first part of a run, but they know that. His spotter, Bobby Hudson, on the radio to him, coaching him in the early part of these runs. We're not going anywhere. Be patient. Take care of it. Once the traffic spreads, then we'll go. He's saying it right now. Long run, Carl. We'll get him.
For second place, Biffle and Sorenson.
Tell you what, that 41 car for the first 40, 50 laps is really fast.
Very fast.
Last time he faded after about 50, 60 laps, but boy.
Marty?
Hey, there I am. I was trying to find
Where'd
you
you
guys.
go?
I was on the wrong channel, I guess, Bill. My bad. Reed Sorenson, very good, as you guys said. This portion of the run is where this car excels. It's where he's going to try and track down the 5 car. It's the end of the run where they're not so good. The car gets hard to turn, gets too tight. That's why they tried to help on the last stop, trying to make them a little looser earlier in the run. Dave?
Dave, what's up with the 16?
Hey, nothing, BP. He's running pretty good. They don't know what's going to happen till the end of the race here as far as cautions and fuel goes. So one of the radio transmissions I overheard recently was just save everything you can.
And that means brakes and fuel and
everything.
Everything. But there's no way they can run from here to the end.
You shouldn't have said that.
They got to make another stop. They've got to make another stop.
But this is really where these guys are starting on the brakes, especially. They've been hammering these brakes. It's been very hot, and this is where the guys that are cooling the brakes the best, it really pays off because, oh, there goes our camera. You know, you start pumping the brakes. You got something there, Matt? Got trouble on the straightaway there.
Jeff Green.
Yeah, in the wall.
That brings out the caution. This will be number 8. Jeff Green's got some issues. Take a look at the replay.
Oh, he looks like he squeezed Truex up in the wall there. He thought he was clear, and Truex was there. And
so Truex might have some issues as well. And this will be Marty Snyder's new camera position next race.
That's cool.
That's a robotic camera. Controlled electronically from a very safe location.
All right, now then.
Now, you were saying about not being able to make it to the NBP?
Some of them can make it from here.
Whatever the Kyle Busch does, the other guys are going to do the opposite right about here.
No, I think that if there's any chance of the teams making it, they'll pit now.
Okay.
Let's see, his pit road is open. All right, here they all come.
29 cars on the lead lap.
And I expect that's how many cars we'll see on pit road. Marty?
Boy, this is awfully close on the fuel window, guys. Look for some fuel-only stops like the leader, Kyle Busch. Top of your screen, it's going to be fuel-only. Alan Gustafson, crew chief, said, yes, we can make it all the way from here, Dave.
Middle of your screen, Greg Biffle. They've been talking about doing a 2-tire stop only. They're going to go fuel only for Greg Biffle. Alan.
Going to be a 4-tire stop for Carl Edwards. Crew chief Wally Brown telling Carl we're going to give up some track position here, but we'll have our tires and fuel to the finish. We won't come back in again the rest of the day. Matt?
And Jimmy Johnson already service complete on his car. Long stop because they packed it full of fuel, 4 tires. They should be good to go from here. That's why they didn't pit back on lap 201. They needed at least 10 more laps to make the distance.
This is going to unfold in a very interesting fashion. Under caution at New Hampshire. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Gotta get those money stop, boys. Shit ain't gonna cut it right there. Gotta have it when you need it.
lot of them guys are just only doing, I don't know, planning on running all the way to Wallace. A lot of them guys are just only.
You still weren't very good.
One to go.
That's why I wanted to pit last time, because I knew if we got another caution or something happened, all these guys are going to be in front of us when they took gas.
Okay.
Forward.
Insurance.
I'm super sorry about your car.
Are you in good hands?
Our Napa Field summary, 10 different leaders, 19 lead changes, 3 cars out of the race, and 8 caution periods as the green comes out. Clint Boyer is the race leader. The top 6 cars did not stop under that caution. That's Boyer, Mayfield, Sadler, Riggs, Jeff Gordon, and Sterling Marlin. And this is a mess.
This is just a recipe for disaster right here.
Oh! Is that Kurt Busch that got in the wall off turn 2? Just ran out of room.
And Kurt 13th in the championship standings as they race right now. Look at Boyer go.
3 wide back there.
Dale Jarrett in the 88.
Robbie Gordon hard on the brakes to avoid a wreck.
That's Reed Sorenson down low. The 41 car. On the inside of Blaney with Robbie right behind him.
Got Carl Edwards, the 99 car, hung up on the outside. Doesn't seem to be able to go anyplace.
Busch is 16th, Edwards 17th, Yaley 18th. Kevin Harvick's back there too, 19th. Mark Martin's in there too. You working that, Matt?
Bill, he has used the past 2 cautions to come in and top off. They believe they are close, maybe 2 laps short. Meanwhile, his teammate, the 17 of Kenseth, who's right there with him, he is 1 lap, possibly less, making it the distance. Dave?
The guys talked about Robbie Gordon in that mix as well. The 7 car, they put fuel only in on the last stop. And before that, took on 4 fresh tires around lap 200. Marty.
You know, Dave, I'm wondering if tires mean a whole lot here in New Hampshire, and I think they do. Reed Sorenson on the last stop took 4 tires. It was a 12.8-second stop. They made an air pressure adjustment, and he's dicing through this field, using the low line to his best advantage and picking up spots almost every lap, Bill.
Thanks, Marty. Driven a very strong race today. Looked like a lap or 2 ago, the 29 and the 22 got together. Dave Blaney and Kevin Harvick. There's on board with Harvick.
See what a pack and a mess they're in the middle of right there. And it's tough. You can't, there's nowhere to go. You can see, I mean, Harvick can't go anywhere unless he goes through the 2.
Down on the bottom. Loses a spot to Jimmy Johnson as he drives by.
But this is what these guys are seeing. I mean, there's no place to go. You've got to be patient. Hopefully your line goes. You've got somebody way high up there.
This is like being trapped in traffic on the interstate and always picking the wrong lane.
You just kind of ride along and just hopefully it starts stringing out. Then you can start making some ground up.
Teammates for third. Mayfield in the 19 and Riggs in the 10. They both drive for Ray Evernham. Mayfield washes up. Sorry, Wally.
That 10 car has been awfully good today, but Mayfield able to hang on.
Riggs falls in behind.
Boy, Jeremy's team needs a good run. Those guys have just been struggling this year.
And that was a fiasco what we went through at Chicago with Mayfield and Ray Evernham. More on that later. Let's get an update on the 10 from Dave.
And he's running pretty well right now, Bill. Remember yesterday in the Busch Series race, he finished 7th, but he started in the front of the field. Today, he started 42nd. And actually yesterday, they were hoping he would learn how to pass a lot of cars, and they were thinking of calling him to pit road early just so he'd get practice for today. Guess he didn't need it because he's worked his way all the way to the front of this field. Matt.
And his teammate, the 10 of Riggs, working the inside, but Jeremy Mayfield really needs this run. Hasn't had a top 10 finish this season. In fact, his best finish was 13th back at Talladega. The car tight in the center. You see him wash up to the outside groove. This team could use this huge momentum builder. Not going to make the chase. He made it the past 2 years. This would almost seem like a win if they could score a top 10 today.
Well, last Friday, Matt, as you know, at Chicago, Jeremy Mayfield was very critical of car owner Ray Evernham. He tried to backpedal from those comments on Friday and Saturday. That was that loud beeping noise you heard from Chicagoland. Mayfield backing up. Then they had an impromptu press conference in the media center on Sunday morning with Evernham and Mayfield, and one reporter called it a hostage session more than a press conference, saying that you couldn't see Jeremy's hands, but they might have been tied behind his back.
Yeah, these guys, I mean, you know, if nothing else, they need a good run for their confidence. But it's really, really difficult when you're in a situation like that. You got your teammate like Casey Kane's running well, and you just, it's very frustrating.
Jeff Gordon in the mix, Dave.
And we thought he might be out of the mix today, didn't we, Bill?
Yes, sir.
Earlier problems on that car with contact. They stayed out on this time as Kyle Busch looks to the inside right now. Stayed out, and according to crew chief Steve Letarte, we are gambling. We've done about all we can to fix the handling on that car, and we'll try to stay out for track position.
And Kyle Busch has got to just back down a little bit. He's running really, really hard. He's trying hard. He just made contact with the 24.
His teammate.
Yeah, he's just got to, you know, he's got a good race car. Don't push it because you can make a mistake here, and that'll cost you the win, Marty.
That's exactly right, Wall, and he knows he may be battling for the lead and maybe the win in the race. As Biffle washes up the track, Kyle also has to go up the racetrack. Alan Gustafson told him, you know what, we can make it all the way on fuel, but I would appreciate it if you saved me just a little bit, just to be sure, in case there's a green-white checker.
Sure, I'll work on that.
Yeah.
You know, this race is only 300 laps here, but it certainly seems the last 100 miles or so, it is very intense racing for one of the shorter races on the circuit. Some of the shorter races, you get better racing down near the end.
I tell you, there's not much more intense going on than right now between this 10 and 19. The 5:24, Biffle thrown in the mix.
Elliott Sadler running in the second spot. Just ahead of this battle, that's Riggs trying to get under Mayfield. Jeremy holds him off again, and you have to talk at least just briefly about Elliott Sadler, who's been in the rumor mill for several weeks now about what he's going to do next year. They've really struggled, and now look at him. Through all the pit strategy and some racing luck and some hard work, he's up to second. Clint Bowyer is the race leader. Bowyer, Sadler, Mayfield, Riggs, and Gordon. What's going to happen next at New Hampshire?
Out there. Still there.
Stay after him, buddy. You get him. You get him here in a second.
our future.
Get a light, just came with me like this.
I think you got to worry about speed too much.
Well, another guy we talked about on the countdown to green had to have a good run today to keep his chances of making the chase alive. On the right side of your screen.
Oh, he gets tagged by Stremme. He was jammed up behind the 32 car of Quapple. David Stremme got in the right rear.
So the Miller Lite bunch works on Kurt's car on pit road under caution.
We're officially done now. Keep going. We're with us. Hang in here. Give me that big sledge.
Jeff Green is the lucky dog.
And Roger Penske telling Kurt to hang in there.
Yeah. They might have been talking about the race or about the chase. Former series champion. First season replacing Rusty Wallace in that ride, and they have not had the success they were expecting. 5 straight top 10s coming into this race, but not one today. And he'll limp off of pit road.
Clint Boyer gives up the lead to come on the pit road.
Marty.
Well, guys, the reason he did not pit earlier is because he couldn't make it all the way on fuel. They have gotten just horrible fuel mileage on the 07 all day long. When everybody else pitted back on lap, what was that, 211,
right.
They were still 15 laps short. So they are coming in right now. They're going to take 4 tires and fuel for the 07. Dave?
And Scott Riggs is on pit road in the 10 car as well as the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. Looks like they're going to change 4 tires for Gordon. Fill it full of fuel.
The 17 of Matt Kenseth is in. Now, he has been fighting brake issues. He's been losing brakes the last half of the race. They're looking underneath just to see if there's any kind of leak on the brakes of the gentleman who started the day second in the championship standings. More from the Magic Mile after this.
Carl was growing up, we didn't know what to do. Carl! Carl! We tried everything.
Whoa, Carl! It wasn't until I joined Ford Racing that I realized I had OAD, overactive adrenaline disorder.
If you have OAD, make a bold move and get help now. Driving a Ford Fusion helped Carl Edwards. It can help you too. Experience the Ford Championship Weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway November 17th through 19th. For tickets, call 1-866-409-RACE.
Big Mac makes it easy to find treasure. McDonald's invites you to join the hunt with Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest, now in theaters. Get a Big Mac, peel the tab, uncover the code, then text in, log in, or dial in, and you can win great prizes, including a new Volvo. Treasure is only a Big Mac away.
Still no air.
We're burning up in here, man. What are you doing?
No touch light. Agree? No touch.
No touch! No touch light.
When the situation. No touch.
Here comes lap down cars on the inside. Coming to the green, pass right on it, got the 20 and the 2 behind you.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing, presented by Subway from New Hampshire, is brought to you by Ford, driving American innovation. By McDonald's and the bold new spicy chicken sandwich. I'm loving it. By Rocky Mountain Refreshing Coors Light. Taste the cold. And by Napa. Get the good stuff. Green flag has just come out. The field coming off of turn 2. Elliott Sadler, Jeremy Mayfield did not pit. Elliott Sadler is the race leader. Kyle Busch runs second.
These guys run a little bit better tires than Elliott, so I don't expect he'll hang on too long, maybe not even another lap.
See if we can get an update on car 38 as he tries to hold on to the lead from Allen.
Well, Tommy Baldwin, the crew chief, told me this morning, Bill, they were going to need some strategy to get up there because he didn't think they had the best car. Before the last restart, they were 5 laps short of the finish on fuel. I asked Tommy, how about now? He said, not yet. Need a couple more. They're doing what they have to do to get that car up the front, though.
Battling Kyle Busch for the lead. Kyle should get that position. And I'm betting that Elliott gets another caution before we're done. Kyle Busch back to the front.
Well, if he has enough fuel, this could be trouble to the competition because that 5 car has been very fast. Marty?
Well, BP had a check with Alan Gustafson, and indeed they do have enough fuel to make it all the way for the 5 team of Kyle Busch. That's exactly where they want to be, in the clean air out front. This car has raced 6 times over 2 years. Its worst finish is 8th. It has a win last year. They're trying to bring it home for a win again today.
4 cars are out of the race, and the 2 of Kurt Busch has gone to the garage after a hard crash in turn 4 after contact with David Stremme.
The 11 car, Denny Hamlin was able to get by Greg Biffle for that 3rd position on the restart. Now we see the 16 Biffle trying to pressure him to get that spot back.
Allen on Hamlin.
A yo-yo day for this team where cautions are concerned. They were running 3rd earlier, pitted under yellow when nobody else did, went back to 23rd, then were still on the racetrack after other people had pitted. When a caution came out, they moved back up. They took fuel only on that last pit stop they made at lap 211, and now they've got their track position back. They can try and race for a top 5 finish, Dave.
Now on the 16 of Greg Biffle, I just checked in with their pit with Doug Richard, the crew chief, and asked him if they could go all the way on fuel, and he said yes they can. Unless we get that thing at the end where we have to go to overtime, we might be a little bit tight. Greg, use long gears and save fuel. Marty?
David, I talked to Tony Glover, one of the team managers for Chip Ganassi Racing. He said, you know what, I am so proud of this 20-year-old young man, Reed Sorenson. He's done an excellent job today. Had his best starting position of the year. He's kept it in the top 10 all day long. They've made very few changes trying to bring it home for his first top 5 finish of the year. Matt?
Mark Martin making his 600th consecutive start running in the 6th position. Mark's car really excels on long green flag runs, and that's exactly what he's hoping we have from here to the finish, because the car really comes to life on the back end of the run. This is the kind of run that this team has needed. Mark hasn't won since Kansas last fall.
We hit the wall a little bit, guys.
55 hit the wall. Took two tires earlier in the race. That helped, and they just have progressively made this car better and better, Bill.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, he's in a pack of traffic behind the race leaders. Here's Mears in the 42, Clint Boyer in the 07 looking to make the move under Michael. See Michael right here.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how he didn't wreck that thing.
I don't either. He and Robbie Gordon both were about 45 degrees.
Wait a minute. Michael Waltrip and Robbie Gordon at New Hampshire? Come on.
What'll happen next?
They've got a little bit of history, including a helmet toss competition.
That was a heck of a save.
It was.
That was a good save, Michael.
You know what we haven't done today, Wally?
What's that, BP?
We haven't cued the duck. Always some interesting things coming when we cue the duck. Let's see.
Who has failed to win the most races this season after leading with 10 laps to go?
Well, let's see. Kansas was leading at Las Vegas with...
And last week? That's 2 right there.
Last week, that's 2. So I guess it's Kenseth.
And you'd be correct.
And Bristol, yes. Forgot about that one.
Yeah. Talked about that on the countdown to green.
Uh-huh.
Our Aflac trivia question. Jimmy Johnson, the championship leader. Carl Edwards in the 99. Mayfield in the 19.
Johnson's 8th position right there. Mayfield 7th. So those guys rallying back, and Carl Edwards on the high side. You got something on the 99, Alan?
Yeah, well, a lot of frustration from inside that race car, and you can well relate. Remember earlier when they pitted, they chose to take 4 tires on that stop at lap 211, which sent them all the way back to 17th place. The crew chief, Wally Brown, has been telling Carl every chance he gets, we'll pass these other guys on a long green flag run because we'll have better speed than they will. In the meantime, Carl's behind the wheel, seeing the laps run out, and him behind all these other cars, and the debate continues.
So Carl Edwards falls in line. Everybody chasing Kyle Busch. Elliott Sadler runs second at New Hampshire.
We decided to, get.
The Home Depot is giving you a good reason to decorate.
Hard, trying to come inside on you. Attaway, attaway. Inside, inside, 24 inside. Still there, still there. Still there, still there. 42 trying to come inside, inside, inside. Still there, still there. Still there, still there. Still there, still there. Clear. The lap on the bottom, 3 cars in front of you. Up top now, go with the 24 if you can. Still there, clear, all clear.
Kyle Busch, look at that.
Good day so far for him.
But you got to check this battle for 10th position out. Jeff Gordon now is in 9th. See the points, he has 455. Hamlin has 458. Now that's 9 and 10. We go back to 10th to 11th. Biffle is 2 points behind Hamlin. Stewart 11. Man, Tony Stewart, those 5 points we saw Hamlin gain, Stewart lost them.
-5 positions, Tony Stewart, today. That's a big hit.
Stewart involved in a wreck, currently scored 38th, 24 laps down. Should pass Kurt Busch and pick up 3 more points. When we come back to New Hampshire, we will take you through the field. You're watching NASCAR on
30 up high. Clear, clear. Real good lap right there, whatever that was for 36. 36.5. Five. Still there, still there, still there. Clear, clear.
J.D. Holcomb, Whitesburg, Kentucky.
DJ Richardson, Fitchburg, Massachusetts.
Rick Pigeon, Fairfax, Vermont.
Jason Jones, Ryan, Georgia.
Josh Kirk, Chambersburg, Pennsylvania.
Brad Pickens, Saluda, South Carolina.
Jason Dalrymple, Concord, North Carolina.
Mark Mullen, Spencer, North Carolina.
The last communication with the crew to Kyle, they said, how's everything going? He said, it's all good in here. Don't worry about me, guys. Alan?
Well, Elliott Sadler may have lost a spot to Kyle Busch on the racetrack, but they are having a very solid day. They need one more thing before they can get to the finish with this runner-up spot. A couple of more caution flag laps. Third place is Denny Hamlin. Hamlin having a very solid day. We showed you the championship standings earlier and talked about how Denny was very focused on getting into the chase, was very nervous about it. Right now they're in. They need to get into the finish and then get to Pocono next week, where he won a month ago, Dave.
Hamlin under the last caution. The crew asked Greg Biffle how his car was. He came back. Good. And that's the way it's been running most of the day after starting 26. Greg solidly in the top 5. Marty.
Dave, I bear great shame. I cheated Reed Sorenson earlier. I said this would be his first top 5 of the season if he finished right here. But indeed, this would be his second top 5 of the season. He finished 5th at Michigan. The car, Reed says, is way too tight. Just will not turn from the middle of the corner.
Crash between turns 3 and 4.
Kenny Schrader, the 21 car, goes around with some help from the 96, the DLP car of Tony Raines.
Schrader trying to get it back underway. Tough break for Kenny. Jeff Green is the lucky dog. And let's go on board with Tony Raines.
Well, there wasn't too much room in between them through that corner.
Schrader into the wall. Back underway, back under caution at New Hampshire. It's the 10th.
Pits are open. It's not by, guys. Pits are open. Staying out here, saving fuel. Safety trucks up high in the middle of 3 and 4. Staying out. Hard here, turn 3, come on hard. Come on hard to the line here. Hard to the line. Come on. We got huge front end problems, just so you know. I ain't gonna be able to go minimum. Watch 49 coming out. Watch 49, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You did hear what I said, right? Just so you know. Yes, sir. What you want me to do? Put it behind a wall, fix it? Oh, 30 laps left. Let's wait till they do something. Get ready, guys. We're going to have to get the tire back on there. Get the tire back on it.
You are watching the Lennox Industrial Tools 300 from the New Hampshire International Speedway on NASCAR In-Car. Only available on digital cable.
Get a big steel hammer and knock the bumper bar back out in the fender. Twist that brace off down there where it ain't gonna be running back into the tire.
9 laps to go in the Lennox Industrial Tools 300 here at New Hampshire. And Kyle Busch has been strong on restarts today. Tries to pull away from Elliott Sadler. Sadler's teammate Dale Jarrett falls in behind him. But Kevin Hamlin's going to take that position.
Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin, thank you. Kevin Hamlin's busy with the 29 car.
Yes. And no relation.
Right. Jarrett, of course, not on the lead lap. There's Reed Sorenson in that 41 car just ahead of the pack. He's had a strong run today.
Very strong run. This caution flag might have been bad news for Greg Biffle. It allowed that 41 to get up on the back bumper. And you're right. He has been extremely fast today. Yeah, I just don't listen to these guys talk. I don't know that all these guys are going to finish the race on the fuel they have in the car.
You think some are not?
I think some of them may run out of gas.
Well, we saw it last week. Matt Kenseth ran out of gas after the tap from Gordon. Tony Stewart ran out of gas. Fuel mileage very critical every week. There's Sorenson trailing Biffle.
Yeah, and those guys aren't trying to save fuel.
No.
Your crew chiefs can say what they want. But guys like Biffle and Sorenson and these guys, they're not trying to save fuel. They're trying to get to the front. Marty?
Well, Wally, I just went to check with Jimmy Elledge, crew chief for Reed Sorenson in that 41 car, and I said, can you make it all the way? He said, we're close. We may be one lap short. We're going to try and make it all the way. The problem, car just doesn't handle very well. Car's awfully tight right now for Reed. Dave?
Wally, can I disagree with you, please?
Absolutely.
On the 16, and they said to ask Greg, ever since this last run started, after they filled up, to use the long gears. And maybe you can explain a little bit more about what that means when they use long gears.
Well, Dave, you can ask all you want. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it.
Will you please, Wally, explain long gears?
I'll let him do that in a second. Let's check with Matt first.
The 2 cars back there, the 6 of Mark Martin, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Pat Tryson gave me the okay. They're good to go on fuel, even if we go into overtime with the green-white-checkered. And 2 cautions ago, Chad Canals told his driver, Jimmy Johnson, go for it. We've seen you. The last time we're going to see you until after the checkered flag falls.
Thanks, Matt. You want to make Dave happy? And
I really don't. Go ahead, BP.
I have no idea what long gears are. Dave, what is long gears? What are long gears?
That's very arrogant of you, Wally.
What would you expect?
I guess so. Hey, you know, if I was to guess what long gears were, no, actually, I think what they're asking Greg to do is not to use all the revs he can on that car, and not to, when you keep the RPMs lower, you save fuel.
Thank you, Dave.
But when you do that, you know what happens?
I've been listening, Wally. I have long gears.
Well, guys like Reed Sorenson pass you. So I mean, you know, that's a problem. If you're going to do that, you're going to save fuel. Yep. Then you're looking for a top 10 finish, but you're not looking for a win, because you're going to get passed when you start trying to save fuel at a place like this.
You know, Greg Biffle, remember at Phoenix, was leading the race with what, 5 laps to go? Ran out of fuel.
That's not the only time he's run out of gas this season. We'll see what happens today. Kyle Busch runs up front, leading Elliott Sadler and Denny Hamlin. Kyle Busch, a couple of wins last year, looking to get back to victory lane and deliver the checkered flag to his team in New Hampshire.
Car racing the 14 beside you. Down there. Big Spade, you'll get him. You'll get that fix.
So Sadler loses a couple of positions on that lap. And Busch leads by about a second and a half.
And pulling away.
He has led 82 laps today, clinched the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. There's the race leader. More from Marty.
You know, Bill, back at Michigan in June, Kyle Busch had a car that could probably win the race. They had a problem on pit road. The Monday after that race, Alan Gufson, the crew chief, called a team meeting. Everybody that worked for the 5 car had to be present. He said, you know what, guys, if we're going to be in the chase, we have to focus. At that point, they had fallen out of the top 10. In the races since, they haven't finished worse than 11th. This morning, he had the same meeting, said, listen, we have a car that can win this race. If each of us do our jobs and not worry about what everybody else has to do, we can win the race. Currently, they're in the lead, and as you see, this could be a huge day for the 5 team. It may be a day, in fact, that locks them into the chase.
And it has been a roller coaster season for Kyle Busch. Was black flagged for aggressive driving in the Daytona 500. Also spent some time in the penalty box in Phoenix for that payback he delivered to Casey Mears under the red flag. But now pulling away here in New Hampshire. With 14 to go, Denny Hamlin runs second. Then it's Sorenson. More on Hamlin from Allen.
Well, Denny Hamlin's team has told him, and they're good to lap 3:02 on fuel. Now the question is, can he do anything with Kyle Busch? Denny Hamlin very much having a fine run, and clean air making a big difference on this car, Marty.
Well, Reed Sorenson says he's just driving the race car right now. His car is just a little bit too tight to catch the guys in front of him, but the car has been awfully good here late in the run. He's trying to get his best ever finish. Alan?
No comments out of Elliott Sadler on the radio as far as the reason he slipped back a couple of positions. Remember, he's on a little bit older tires than these guys that are racing around him. Of course, still worried about having enough fuel to make it to the finish. Dave?
Greg Biffle still looking for his first win here in Loudon. They told him that the 38 is pedaling, that he's coming back to you, but the 38 has to cooperate for that. And so far, Greg can't catch him. Alan?
Well, Carl Edwards has talked about the fact that it has become very, very difficult to pass on this racetrack in the late going in the race. A lot of traffic that he's been mired in, coming back from 17th up to 6th. Now he's trying to see if he can pick up a top 5 finish, but he thought he was contending for a win a while ago, Matt.
Mark Martin, the 6th, gave up that 6th position to his teammate, the 99 of Edwards. Now he's just trying to hold on to 7th. He's trying, a little loose off the corner. The car both tight and loose, beginning to fade. Dave?
They made an adjustment for Kevin Harvick early in this race that made what Todd Berrier would term as solid, a car that you can adjust a little bit either way. Unfortunately, they've been playing the track position game. He's only gotten up to 8th. Matt?
Earlier in the race, Jimmy Johnson had fallen all the way back to 32nd. They thought this was really going to be the best showing since they swept both races here in 2003. But what a work in progress. Never gave up, worked their way into the top 10. Right now, just trying to soldier home with a good, strong finish, Dave.
Same story on the soldiering for the 31 of Jeff Burton. Remember, he started on the outside of the front row, got put a lap down when a caution came out after he had pitted under green. They fought back to 10th.
Thanks, guys. A top 10 through the field. There are 28 cars scored on the lead lap. Kyle Busch is the race leader. We talked about his problems at Daytona and Phoenix. Of course, also involved in that Hans throwing incident in the Coke 600 at Charlotte. But today it's all about how this car and this driver have performed. A 2.5-second lead over Denny Hamlin, looking for his first win of the season. A couple of victories last year.
And he's got a lot of open racetrack in front of him, so he doesn't really have to deal with a whole lot of traffic. I don't think between now and the end of the race. He's got one car in front of him, Jeff Green. So he's a pretty good position right now.
And we've talked about Kyle Busch for so long, it's hard to remember he's only 21 years old.
Very, very talented young man. Very talented. Let's take a look at the speed at the lines, and if anyone is running faster than, like Denny Hamlin, a little bit quicker.
Carl Edwards has been fast, and there you have it. Carl's been cranking some pretty good laps off here the last 4 or 5 laps. Problem is he's 6 seconds behind him, the leader.
Jeff Burton and Jimmy Johnson for 9th. Burton sliding the save.
48, I think, got in the wall a little bit, too.
Jeff takes the position. Jeff Burton has made it very clear he just wants to run back up front again the way he used to. Marty, what do you got?
Well, Jimmy Ellis just radioed to Reed Sorenson. He said, you know what, guy, we have 8 laps to go, and we might make it on fuel. They were counting on a couple more caution laps. We'll have to see if the rookie can bring home his best ever finish.
There is Sorenson in the 41 car. Would you call him a win waiting to happen?
Reed Sorenson?
Yes.
Again, another young man. It's unbelievable just how good these young guys are.
There's Kyle Busch, 2.7 seconds in front of Hamlin. Car owner Rick Hendrick. He's got a lot of talent in his stable, and people believe Kyle Busch has a lot of talent. Just as Wally talked about, needs to control his emotions on the racetrack. Rick watches. 5 laps to go.
Pretty much, sorry, Bill, it's pretty much just strung out right now. Well, you got Scott Riggs working on the 48. That's for 10th position right there. Riggs just can't pull it off. I don't think he's through with him yet.
It's Kyle Petty in the 45. Kyle several laps down, 3 laps down now.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Jimmy Johnson's been all over the wall. Coming off of 2 and 4. Uh-oh, we got somebody out of fuel. Is that Jeremy?
Jeremy Mayfield got on pit road and has it restarted. This is for 5th place. Teammates here, Carl Edwards in the 99, Biffle in the 16.
OBP, we'll see if a few more cars will run out of fuel here in the last 5 laps, 4 laps.
Well, Tommy Baldwin said that 38 needed more caution laps, right? Elliott runs in the 4th spot. Edwards right behind him. Less than 3 to go.
Elliott, Sadler obviously using those long gears Dave spoke about.
I see a feature for the pre-race show next week unfolding.
Oh, trouble! And the caution flag is going to be out, and we're going to overtime.
And this changes everything. Travis Quapple around. That's Clint Boyer in the 07.
Oh, man.
Well, we really have a fuel issue now.
We really
We were just joking earlier.
This is an exact follow-up to what we saw last week. A late caution with about 2 laps to go. Went to overtime, and guys ran out of fuel. And everybody scrambles on pit road right now. Heavy damage there. That's too bad. Boyer is having a...
Right here now. Let's go.
So check out the replay. Watch the top of your screen. Right there in the back.
I think Boyer just thought he had the 25 clear. He moved up the racetrack, and he obviously wasn't clear. Vickers was right there. I'm sure they're going to be holding their heads.
It's the 5 crew. Their reaction.
Alan Gustafson saying, oh no, not 2 laps to go.
Hope you're using those long gears. Burns isn't going to like us after this show.
He didn't like us before the show.
Of course, there's no lucky dog inside of 10 laps to go, and it will be a single file restart when we go back to green. If the race reaches the scheduled conclusion under caution, NASCAR will make 1 attempt and 1 attempt only to get a 2-lap green-white-checkered finish. We are completing lap 300 now. This would be the final lap, but we'll have 2 laps of racing when we come back to New Hampshire.
All right, 1 to go. Do 1 to go when you get back.
Edwards, Elliott Sadler, and Greg Biffle. Then Mark Martin, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, Scott Riggs, and Jimmy Johnson, the top 10.
Folks, have you ever been nervous? We've got a bunch of crew chiefs on pit road about as nervous as they can possibly be about the fuel situation.
I'll tell you what, you got another couple guys in those race cars that are pretty worried right now. I mean, just one mistake by Kyle Busch, or, I mean, he's going to get passed. You don't want to see when you're leading. You don't want to be in this position.
That 99 car is not that bad.
Right, right.
Alan?
So what do you do when you're tight on tires and you normally spin your tires to clean them off before the restart, which means you'd have to rev up the engine and use some gas, right? Denny Hamlin just called to the pits and said, what do I do, basically? And he was told, wait until the last possible second and do it briefly.
And he's going to have to wait another lap.
Wow. The 55 car looks like he's blowing water on the back. They're going to probably, I mean, they'd have to push. This is going to burn up a lot more fuel.
How did that happen?
He's crashed back there and broken the radio.
Look at the 32 car. Looks like he's
That could be the other half of it.
Looks like Michael ran on the back of the 32.
Well, we've got a great crew around the track. Let's take a look. On board with Michael.
Our guys are trying to come back to us, but
that was Robbie Gordon.
And Michael Waltrip at New Hampshire. So Michael wants a push, and this brings back some memories of this.
It's the same exact spot, too.
Michael turning Robbie. Robbie backed up and tried to hit him, then threw a fastball.
Michael's taking his helmet off.
I think Elliott's out of gas. Or no, I guess he's not out of gas.
Trying to get Michael Waltrip's car back to pit road. There's Sadler. Tommy Baldwin said he wasn't sure they could make it to the end of the schedule distance. We're now almost 4 laps past that, and we're told that he has been cutting the car off and coasting.
Oh boy.
Trying to get the most out of his fuel. And he's going to restart fourth. And if he should run out of gas.
And oh man, with Michael's deal back there, now these guys have to clean the track up. That's going to add another 2 or 3 laps. It's even making it tighter for the guys that were already tight on fuel. And those guys are hustling back there trying to get this track clean, because obviously NASCAR realizes that a lot of these guys are close on fuel.
Hey, Reed Sorenson might be okay. He pitted. He has gas.
So you're saying that 20 guys are going to run out of fuel?
Could be.
Oh, Benny, always the optimist. Snyder.
Hey, fellas, obviously Kyle Busch is now concerned about fuel, as everybody else is. We've talked about that. Kyle is asking NASCAR to please either red flag the race or get it going. And obviously, fuel is a concern for everybody, so I would think the red flag at this option would still be an option, correct, Bill?
It would be, but I don't see that happening.
I mean, they're almost got the track cleaned up, but the pickup back there is moving.
NASCAR has been pretty quick to use that red flag in situations like this in the past. This was an unforeseen incident. 2 guys running into, or Michael running into Robbie under caution and busting the radiator. And they will get the 1 to go when they get to the line this time. This completes lap 305, so now we're 5 laps past the scheduled distance.
Oh, man.
Just one more lap.
Next time is 306.
All right, so you got better get to 308.
Oh, man.
Alan?
Bill, when NASCAR first implemented the green, white, green-white checker finish. Its intent was to ensure the fans, these 101,000 fans here today who came to see a race to the checkers, to ensure that they got to see the best possible chance for an exciting green flag finish. The worst possible case scenario was just what we're seeing play out today. People short on fuel, an extended cleanup that forces perhaps something to alter the finish. The teams all knew it going in. Everyone understands that the green-white checker is a good thing for the sport. This just happens to be that one situation that nobody can really control. They've all got their fingers and toes crossed.
All right, AB. Well, there was nervous drivers a little while ago. They're really nervous now.
Be a lot of talk about this tomorrow.
Basically, when you take a restart, you run out of gas in front of a guy, you're going to get run over.
One attempt at a 2 laps of green finish. The green flag's in the air, white flag next time.
Good restart for Kyle Busch. Uh-oh, Elliott Sadler looks like he's out of fuel.
Did everything he could. Still under power, though, it looks like maybe back there.
He's out of gas.
Nope.
Out of gas.
You're right, Wally. He's done.
Oh, the 99 just taking a look at Hamlin. He wants by bad. He tried low. He couldn't. He's going to the high side.
And he's been running that high line.
Oh, he's sideways. He's giving it everything he's got.
Last lap.
Ooh, in the back of him.
The 96 car is spun, and the caution is out. The race is over.
No,
it's not out. It's not out. It's not out. It's not out.
And Edwards has position on the outside.
Oh, he's going to drive it in there for everything he's got, and he takes it. It looked like Hamlin either sputtered or just he got out of the gas way early.
Try and run down the race leader coming off of 4.
11 is out of fuel. Denny Hamlin loses another spot.
Kyle Busch wins at New Hampshire. Hamlin coasts across the line.
And he will come across the line in 6th position.
And Elliott Sadler stayed out on the track and is trying to coast around to the finish.
That's right.
Chevrolet congratulates Kyle Busch and the 5 Monte Carlo SS on another great Team Chevy victory. 25 of the last 34 NASCAR manufacturer championships and counting. Chevy an American revolution. Marty.
Well, now Rick Hendrick is all smiles. And how are your nerves on that green-white checkered, Rick?
I'm way too old for this. I had a birthday last week. Man, I'll tell you. It's a great car. And, you know, Alan told me last night on the phone I need to come up here. Said they're going to win the race today. But, you know, we were just, it was going to be awful close on fuel.
You got a talented young man behind that wheel who showed a lot of patience today.
Hard to believe he's as young as he is, got as much talent as he does, looking for good things. I think he's 4th in the points now, right?
Yeah, I think he may be even higher than that, Rick. That's good news. 21-year-old Kyle Busch wins here at New Hampshire.
Unofficially, Kyle is 4th in the points. His first win since Phoenix last November. Also won at California last year. His second top 5 finish in 3 New Hampshire races. He was 4th here last July. 9th win for Chevy here at New Hampshire. Kyle Busch, in a green-white checkered finish, wins in Loudon.
2, please.
Introducing Keep the Change.
There you go. Enjoy the show.
Each time you make a purchase with your Bank of America Visa check card, we not only round up the amount to the next dollar and transfer your check, matching 5% thereafter, up to $250.
Time now for our sprint post-race report. Let's go down to victory lane, and here's Alan Bestwick.
Well, Kyle Busch told us before the race that he was a little more concerned with protecting his place in the chase for the Nextel Cup than winning the race at the start of the day. He's done both this afternoon. The team owner, Rick Hendrick. Well, Kyle, congratulations. First questions first. We'll work backwards. How nervous were you riding around under the caution before the overtime that you might not see that checkered flag?
Well, you know, Alan told me, I asked him when we came in on that last stop there and was wondering whether or not we had enough fuel to make it to the end if there was overtime. And he says, oh, yeah, you're fine. And then they're telling me to save gas. So I don't know what to think, but man, I just want to thank all these guys. They weren't sweating as much as they were today as they were 2 days ago preparing this thing. So they did an awesome job for me. We just kept working on trying to make it turn in the center, and did an awesome job for me with the Kellogg Chevrolet to bring it here to Victory Lane.
As this race unfolded, you were up front, you were back in the middle of traffic. How concerned were you when you got shuffled back at times that you'd be able to get back to the front?
Well, I was a little bit concerned, especially when there were a few accidents in front of us. You know, the 20, I hate it for him. I wish we could have battled it out with Tony there for the finish. I knew he was very, very strong, and he had an awful fast race car. Hey, Dad.
His father, Tom?
But, you know, and then again, I think the 12 car got spun out there. We barely made it past those guys. But, you know, it wasn't that big of a deal in order to try to bypass those guys. I knew we had a good enough car where if we just bide our own time and ran our own race, we could clear them all and beat them.
You are up to 4th in the championship now after today's events. Your thoughts?
The biggest thing with that is, yeah, it's great in school and everything, but, you know, the points difference between 4th and 10th, I mean, it's so darn close. I mean, we just went from 8th to 4th. Next week we can go from 4th to 12th. So we just need to keep rolling like we are here. The past 3 weeks, we 3rd, 2nd, and a 1st. I guess I have to win to get an interview on TV, but, hey, that's what it takes. That's what I'll do. We'll be here next week again if we can do it.
If you can be in Victory Lane next week, I guarantee we'll meet you there. Congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you.
Kyle Busch, the winner today. Marty?
Well, for a guy who told me on Friday, quote, this is not my best racetrack, you look pretty good in that high line. With a few more laps, could you have gotten around the 5 car?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Denny Hamlin and I were having a heck of a race, and if I would have had another inch or two on Denny and been able to make that pass, who knows what could have happened. But I just have to thank Office Depot. This whole back-to-school thing's been a lot of fun lately, and hopefully we can get back to Victory Lane. I'll tell you what, you need a Tom cam. My motorcoach driver with the beard, I don't know if I feel worse for my team or for Tom that we didn't win, but man, I had a blast, and can't wait to come back here.
His motorcoach driver, Tom, is growing a beard until Carl wins. Hopefully he can shave very soon. Dave?
Greg, it was hard to tell whether you're going to finish in or out of the top 5. Were you a little worried about the fuel there?
A little bit, you know, because we've had, you know, a rough time with fuel mileage. But, you know, my hat's off to the engine shop here. This thing ran with a lot of power and had good fuel mileage. So the Subway Fusion car was really good today. I'm just excited about all the guys, how hard they worked in pit stops. And Doug just called a great race. And just excited to go home this week. I'm going to Camas for a few days. And next week get to go on my new lures boat down in Mexico. So one more week at Pocono, and we'll see how we do, and then we get a week off.
Last 3 races here for Greg, a 5th, a 4th, a 3rd. Wonder what September will be like, Matt.
Jimmy Johnson scores another top 10 here at New Hampshire. How would you describe your day, Jimmy? The car looked more like it came from Bristol or Martinsville.
Man, that was a beating of a day. We got caught in the pits when the caution came out. I got in the wall twice on my own, had to deal with coming through traffic. You know, a lot of hard racing. I have to say it's probably some of the hardest racing I've ever done on a flat track with Carl Edwards, Mark Martin, the 31 there at the end. I mean, we just were racing our butts off. So it was a lot of fun, but a tough day. You know, we got cycled out early, came back and got up towards the front and picking it off. We just need to stay up front all day long and I have to rally back at the end of the day.
Jimmy Johnson survives here in New Hampshire and pads his championship point lead by another 17 points. Marty?
Matt, a 4th place finish for Mark Martin, and I heard you on the radio. You vetoed tires on that last pit stop. Are you glad you did that?
Well, you know, I am. We had a car that would run, you know, it wasn't the fastest car here, but it really stayed on its tires good, so I knew that it was about as good at the end as the start. But you know, it's really good to have a top 5 here today, and we really needed it. But I want to thank all my fans. They've been so great all through the years, and they've really supported us through this little down spell. And this is what we needed for our AAA, all the AAA members that support us and everything. This is what we needed.
Mark said he needed a little pick-me-up this weekend. Certainly got it. Finishes 4th here at New Hampshire.
Thanks, guys. Good job down there today. Take a look at the championship standings. And as you look at the numbers, here's some quick math. It's only 70 points from 3rd to 8th. And from 4th to 11th, it's only 124 points. You can see that Gordon and Biffle are tied with the same amount of points in 9th and 10th. That's broken by wins, but that'll happen later. Tony Stewart is now outside the top 10. Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards. Disappointing day for Kurt Busch. Ryan Newman back to 19th. Let's go down to Matt.
And we'll slide up alongside the 11 car with Denny Hamlin. I know you're disappointed and frustrated, but still, to come out of here with a top 10 finish after the day that this team has had.
Yeah, I'm disappointed, but at the same time, could have been a lot worse. We could have not made it back to the line at all. So, you know, I'm pretty happy. I don't know where we ended up. I think 6th or so, but I felt like I maybe had something for Kyle there on the short run. His car looked like it pushed really bad, and we gained on him big time on that with 1 to go, and it started sputtering right there at the white flag, so I had to just, baby it on back. So it's pretty unfortunate, but same. All still, the FedEx Chevrolet was pretty good, and we'll go to Pocono and win that one.
He's salvaged with a 6th place finish, and he's going to Pocono, a place that he won about 6 weeks ago. Bill?
Thanks, Matt. Again, here are the unofficial results. Top 10. Kyle Busch won the race, led the most laps. We'll have more from New Hampshire as our TNT coverage of NASCAR continues in a moment. Kyle Busch has taken his team to victory lane in Loudon. Let's go down to Marty Snyder.
With Casey Kane, Bill, who's taken a moment to kind of relax a little bit on a very hot day here at New Hampshire. That took a lot out of you, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm exhausted. It was a long race in the heat, but happy with my team. Dodge Steelers, UAW Dodge Charger was good and up and down. I mean, we struggled. We ran into Newman when he spun and bent the front end and fought back to 8th. So we got a couple cars in that final restart, and it was good. We could do that.
For you guys, as much of a struggle as it was, what does the top 10 mean this afternoon?
Well, we've been, I think, average about 25th in the last 3 weeks. So to get back in the top 10, get a solid run, and the team did a good job. It's a track we've struggled at a little bit. It was good. I'm happy and look forward to next week. Hopefully we can have a good run at Pocono.
A solid but exhausting day for Casey Kane, Matt.
And what a run for Jeff Burton. You were caught speeding on pit road, and that changed your day, and from that point on, strategy changed, and this team really fought back.
Hey, I'm just feel really dumb for speeding down pit road again. It's the second time I've done it. We've pumped our pit road speed up, trying to be more competitive on pit road, and we just got to back it down some. But real proud of my guys. We were not that good yesterday in practice, and they got together last night, spent a lot of time, and made our car better. And we just got to keep fighting. This is what this team is about. We're not always going to be the best, but we're not get something out of it. But we were really good today. We didn't have anything for the 5, and I think the 20 was better. But we were really good today, and we're leading early in the race. We got to figure a way to lead at the end of the race.
Jeff Burton finishes 7th here at New Hampshire. Bill?
Thanks, Matt. He'll try again next week at Pocono. So a big win for Kyle Busch, his first of the season after going to victory lane twice last year. And he's 4th in the championship standings. Jimmy Johnson leaves here as the point leader. We all head to Pocono next week to see what happens there. Denny Hamlin was the winner earlier. Rick Hendrick with a wave to his family and friends at home. Join us Saturday on NBC for Martinsville for NASCAR Busch Series Racing presented by Aaron Sales and Lease Ownership. Then we're back to TNT on Sunday afternoon for NASCAR Next Up Racing from Pocono. Coverage begins at 1:30 Eastern Time with the Bank of America countdown to green.